up, you'll be fine. It'll be okay.
All right. Now I'm gonna check and see.
I have faith in you.
Thank you, sir.
I have mostly faith in you.
You guys are here.
I only have a few doubts, Tim.
Disaster, right? Just if there's a disaster, you're here for it.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see. I am showing we're live. All right. Cool. And I need to make sure I have access to the chat. All right. Let's see. In case inappropriate people show up.
We're already here.
People.
No. Oh no. No. This is. You're the good. You're in some ways the good kind of it. You're the good kind of inappropriate. We're talking about like knuckleheads and racists and things like that.
Yeah, we don't want that.
Yeah,
we get that every now and then. That's always fun.
Oh, we gotta stop. Jesse's in the chat. He's inappropriate.
Oh man. We told him.
All right,
like, dude.
We're live. It looks like in all corners. So I will count down and start the opener. You guys ready?
Ready.
Do it.
3,
absolutely.
2. Welcome to Nintendo Dads, episode 375, recorded on May 12th, 2022. On tonight's episode with special guests Drew and John from the Dads After Dark show, we talk about the Indie World Showcase, Nintendo's latest fiscal report, and who needs business, Justin, when we've got Drew and John anyways. So, Jesse, you know what to do. Wait a minute. Jesse's not here. Wait, I guess that's me, right? So I'm going to try. Hopefully I don't screw it up. You guys won't hear it, but people will. Here we go.
Hey guys, what's up? And welcome to Nintendo Dads, episode 375. It is May 12th, 2022, and we are ready to go. Joining us on the show this week are our good friends Drew and John from Dads After Dark. How are you guys?
Woo, wonderful.
I'm excited to be here. In the spirit of this week, we feel like indie guests coming on to your AAA podcast.
Oh, look at that.
Good.
Set.
Good.
Hey. How long did you work on that?
5 seconds.
Hey,
well, then masterful work, sir. Masterful
I'm just
work.
happy to be up past 9. You know?
Yeah, I forgot you of the early bedtime that I kind of am envious of tonight. I didn't sleep well last night for some reason. Probably because I was so disturbed by the indie world. And seeing all the things that were there. We've had a little bit of time to process. We're going to talk about it later on the show. But again, if you are joining us for the first time and don't know who these gentlemen are, John and Drew are patrons turned podcasters who found their start by, we'll talk about this a little bit more in the show, but kind of found your start there, helping us out with monthly mayhem and things, and it turned into a podcast.
Yeah, even before monthly mayhem back in the day, we called it tournaments. John and I became friends, lovers, and after that, it's just we're here. We're having a blast. Yeah.
And you guys, are responsible for a lot of shenanigans, if we want to call it that, over on the Discord and also on their Twitter channel. They handle our monthly mayhem as well as the bounty board that you guys have seen, where you can literally win eShop rewards for playing video games.
That's right. That's right, Marty. And we're waiting for you and your son to get that Skywalker Saga bounty. What's your brick count at?
Kyberbrick, it's actually would be me and my wife. We're playing through it. We're sitting at about 360 right now.
Wow.
Okay.
That's no joke.
360
ways to go.
So what we did was we beat all the movies, right? Just kind of went through them, did everything we could at the time, and then came back, and now we're going through each movie and 100%ing every level. So what you get from that is there's 6 Kyber bricks that you can earn per level. Each movie has 5 levels. So that's 45 times 6. I'm not good at math, but so it's roughly, you're going to get 30 per movie, right? Mm-hmm. Plus, then you just land on planets and just find them.
Oh yeah, that's the
and
fun
do
part.
all kinds of stuff. And it is the fun part because it's really cool to like last night we were playing and I was the Mandalorian flying an X-Wing, and she was like, I think she was an Ewok because she really likes Ewoks, flying an escape pod from the Princess Leia ship in episode 4. And we were like going into space battles and stuff that way. So you can go and do all kinds of stuff. There's all kinds of little hidden Easter eggs and stuff. Also joining us on the show this week, as usual, is our wonderful, newly recovered, by the way, not Jesse Waldack as he is labeled on my Zoom. It's Tim Off. How you doing, Tim?
I'm not Robo Jesse. I am clone Jesse. I am trying to mimic his work.
You're on theme. That's on theme for Star Wars. And yes, I appreciate that.
I am his clone today and trying to do his trying to emulate his 7-year employee run of the year.
Well, I want you to know, and I want him to know that that 7-year employee status is gone.
At least this week.
Yeah, when he vacated the show, I'm sorry.
Even though he's allowed to have one day, I thought he had one PTO day.
Oh, that's right. That's right. We did it. We do have a clause built in his contract. One paid day off per year. And so live it up, buddy. Live it up. Tomorrow it's back to the grind. Even though we are Justin and Jesse-less on this episode, we do have a ton of stuff to talk about. Not only the Indie World Showcase, but Nintendo's latest fiscal numbers. And some surprise breaking news that dropped right before we went to record tonight. And so if you guys are ready, let's dive into the news, shall we?
Here we go.
And our news each and every week is brought to us by you guys over at patreon.com/NintendoDads, where for as little as $1 a month, you can help bring peace and harmony to the galaxy by becoming one of our patrons and joining in to all kinds of fun and shenanigans over there. $1 gets you into our Discord. $5 opens up all the sub channels. $10 a month gets you exclusive art cards quarterly, as well as pre and post show audio, and $30 gets you on the show as a Patreon producer. And so you can head over to patreon.com/NintendoDads and be a part of that. Guys, let's dive right into the headlines. Our biggest news this week is Indie World. Yesterday, or 2 days ago, if you're hearing this in just audio form, Nintendo surprise announced a brand new Indie World for a day after the announcements. All right, which is kind of on brand. Yep. It's kind of on brand for them. And from there, proceeded to show off around 19 games, about 20 minutes or so-ish presentation. We've got several of these. They're all listed. Guys, Drew and John, you hopefully have gotten the notes as well, or maybe you have your own notes.
They're going in blind.
Oh, they're going in blind. Okay. Well, that's
show
fine.
is this? I don't know what show I'm on.
Yeah, I don't. Oh. Yeah. We don't even help our guests out. I don't know what we're doing. So let's just run down these titles real quick, just as a reminder to you guys and to me, as I've only watched it once. Usually I try to dive in a couple of times and see it. Announced on the show, Ooblets, Batora, Lost Haven, Elekhead, Soundfall, Windfrost, Totally Accurate, Battle Simulator, Gunbrella, We Are OFK, Silt, Mini Motorways, Wayward Strand, Cult of the Lamb, Another Crab's Treasure, One Shot World Machine Edition, Gibbon Beyond the Trees, Idle Manager, Card Shark, Curse to Golf, A Guidebook to Babel, and Opus Echo of Star Song Full Bloom Edition.
Oh my God.
And everything from One Shot through Opus was teased in like a final sizzle trailer that left us. They usually do the final sizzle trailer and then they're like, hey, there's one more thing. Nope. No,
one more thing. What is that about?
And honestly, I feel like that not having one more thing kind of was kind of, I don't know if the word I'm looking for here is theme or was appropriate for the tone of this Indie World.
I think it was Nintendo's response for the internet's attitude towards every time they have a one more thing and nobody likes it.
Sometimes I like it.
The internet doesn't like it.
Well, okay, the internet didn't like it. Drew and John, I'm going to throw it over to you guys. Being our guests, we want to hear your thoughts first. What did you guys think about this indie world? What stuck out to you? And you said earlier today that you had some thoughts about this, which sounded a little
I always
ominous.
have thoughts.
Sound a little ominous, though.
I always have very unpopular thoughts. You ever notice that? I don't know. I'm
yeah,
honest.
me too. It's okay.
No, I actually really liked it. I mean, like just off the bat, yeah, I think we do need to have a discussion about why there wasn't a one more thing. I have a couple theories, but there was a bunch of games that I was really impressed with, which usually doesn't happen with Indie World. Usually it's one or two. But the big ones for me, I think Gunbrella, which I think a lot of people, I think that was sort of the favorite of the group. It's digital devolver, had a nice little art style. I'm looking forward to the mechanics of that Gunbrella.
Yes, I agree.
So I think that's an obvious one. Electhead looked pretty cool.
Yes.
Kind of has that Mega Man look, right, Marty? Like it for some reason it just had like a
as
Mega
soon
Man
as this
feel.
popped up on the screen, I said, "That's Mega Man 1."
Yeah.
I was glued to that one, and it's so cool that is a one-man dev crew.
That's
for
great.
that game. I thought the art style was cool. The puzzles looked challenging. The music sounded good. I was hoping like the whole time, like toward the end of that, I was going out today. Yeah, I really wanted that one.
I think that's summer. Yeah, I like that the because like with puzzle games, I tend to really like them, and then I get like over them pretty quickly. They run too long. They maybe they don't have a difference in mechanics. I'm hoping this game's not too long, but I loved how the rooms connected. You know, it kind of reminded me a little bit of Celeste in that way, that it's not like do this puzzle, but the rooms are all connecting, and it sounds like there's lots of secrets to find.
Yeah.
So it's going to be kind of collectathon-y. So I'm really interested in that one. Wild Frost is probably the biggest, deepest game. I'm super excited for that. Drew and I are big Slay the Spire fans, and it doesn't mean we like every card game, but it's interesting that the cards seem like the characters. Like it's not just having the cards, but the cards are hitting other cards.
Yeah, my two observations from that were I didn't like that choice because I thought the art style was really good, and I would have liked to have seen fleshed out characters. The second thing is I don't think they showed enough of this game. And what I mean by that is like I really like what they showed. I know they were trying to be very bite-sized and they only had a limited period of time, but I would have loved that one to have had a demo. And maybe it will before it launches, but I think that's one. Games like that generally, I think, need demos to kind of try them out.
Maybe we'll get lucky for before the holiday drop. So,
yeah, it's still a ways away. So, what they described it as a tactical roguelike deck builder, and like it's like, you know, that Vince McMahon meme when he's like getting progressively more pleased, like that's how I feel, like tactical roguelike deck builder.
Oh, when they said roguelike, I was like, "Ooh." You know, that's like the bat signal to me.
I'll tip over the stair. But the game, surprisingly enough, nobody's really talking about it much. The game that I'm the most excited about is Wayward Strand, which luckily comes out in a couple months,
July 21st.
This is the one with the young like red-haired girl on the boat, I believe, a boat hospital or something like that. And the concept of this is one of those games where I'm not like, oh, I love the characters, I love the art style. I don't know if I agree with any of that, but this is a game where you play through sort of a real-time story going on, and then you play through it again and again and again, and it looks like the character will take notes,
different stories and stuff like that.
So the character will actually has a notebook and takes notes of the things that happen. So maybe you go into a room and some patient died because they didn't get their medicine. So when you play through the next time, you want to make sure to grab those pills and give it to that character. And you just play through. I don't know how long the playthroughs will be, but it reminds me a lot of a game. It's one of my favorite games ever, Psychic Detective. It was on 3DO and PC, but it was a game where you play through it's an FMV game where you play through this real-time story and you kind of change between bodies of people and you learn things, and then you play through again and you like, oh, I want to make sure I jump into that person because I know this happens and I want to find out what's going on.
Interesting.
So I'm really interested in that because it just seems like a very unique, even though I just said a game that's just like it, but I think in this case, it's gonna be a very unique style of game. So
I do too.
I'm excited.
I worry about the need to replay it over and over and over.
I don't think it'll be a long. I think each playthrough will probably be pretty short. We're not talking like a 20-hour thing. Probably like a half hour.
Also, well, no, I'll save this for later. This is where my thoughts are and bad opinions are, and we'll come back to those.
I'm ready to express mine, Marty. So
that's okay. That's okay. Anything else that stuck out to you from this?
Those are my big four. And overall, I was pretty excited about the world. Noticeably, I was kind of waiting for like the one big thing. And Marty, you set us up for a big announcement incoming, and I thought you knew something. I told Drew, I go, the Nintendo Dads count is like leaking information because somebody posted a video that was a joke.
I did not mean to do that. Here's
there was
the only thing. This is why I tweeted when I tweeted. And for those of you who didn't see it, I tweeted something on my personal account that basically said like, Nintendo something big must be coming, because the amount of times that Nintendo reminded people that this indie world was going on was over the top for what we actually got. They retweeted it. They tweeted about it on Tuesday. Then on Wednesday, starting at the hour, they were like, hey, it's in an hour. Hey, it's in 30 minutes. Hey, it's in 10 minutes. Hey, it's about to start. And I was for sure that we were going to get like Fallguys info, or we were going to get Silksong. And I was really hopeful for you, John, that we were going to get some Silksong info, because I know you've been waiting for so long. Really?
I'm not in love with Silksong, but I'm just dying to know when it's going to come out, because my poor wife is suffering waiting for it.
2019 was when it was announced, and they did put out a bulletin yesterday. I don't know if you saw this after the direct, and they were like, so Team Cherry put this statement out, and it was basically like, so we know that you're waiting and you've been waiting and you've been patient, and we know you're disappointed, but we will have something to share with you very soon.
Oh my gosh.
That was it.
So they'll share something in 2023, maybe.
At the end of this year, they're going to be like, here's what we have to share. Still working on it.
I like how they say we've been patient, and it's like people on the internet are screaming, where the heck is Silksong? It's like, we're not being patient at all. We're being jerks.
Yeah.
If you do it enough, you'll get something that's like the thing you want. Like if you talk about folders enough, Nintendo will give you groups. So I feel like if we talk about Silksong enough, they'll give us another bug game.
You'll get Song Silk.
We get Bug Snacks. Two.
Yeah, there you go.
Bug Snacks 2. Even more snacks. Drew, anything on this that you was different that stuck out for you?
Yeah. I mean, Wild Frost, just like John mentioned. I agree with you. I'm a little concerned about the art style type part of it, but I'm all for giving it a try. And then, of course, I've been waiting forever, I feel like, for Cursed to Golf. I'm very disappointed. We got like 5 seconds of it. Again, not a hard date, but a summer date, which just means nothing. But
summer's coming.
Well, that's sure. Could be in September, though. But no, I mean, nothing. I mean, I don't know if you want me to get into my soapbox here, but as far as the games go, I mean, Gunbrella as well. Yeah, I'm gonna be blunt here.
Yeah, I was gonna say, go ahead. Let's go ahead and transition into the soapbox. I think it's a good place to do it.
I'll keep it PG, but people wonder why Nintendo is where they are today. Like you just said, Marty. To piggyback off of you with the advertising this thing, having tens of thousands of people watching. Like, sorry if I offend people, but Nintendo should not be advertising this and then putting video games out there that are made by one person as a student project.
Oh,
listen, I'm sorry. This is not the avenue when you're trying to compete with big video game companies like
It's
Xbox
an indie
and
world.
I don't care. I don't care if it's an indie world, right? I think this is poor marketing by Nintendo. I truly do. Some of these games and the graphics these games are, like the Total Accurate Battle Simulator, joke or not, that should not be getting 8 minutes of an indie direct. I mean, that was like Pine, like brought me back to my Pine days. Like that. That's not good. That's garbage.
Drew, you're not hip with the kids. Tabs is going to be the biggest selling game that was shown at Indie World. They love that stuff.
I don't get it. But then people are wondering.
I'm going to agree with you. I don't understand
Nintendo
that one.
is wondering why they're looked at as a joke compared to these other big companies. This is why they're displaying these games. Like I'm sorry, but like they're not targeting the West market at all. Some of them. I'm not here for it. I'm not here for it.
You should be
John, or Drew. I'm gonna say this though, in rebuttal to that, just devil's advocate.
Yeah,
they literally showed off a game where you worship Satan in the form of a lamb.
You had to have, what did it say? Increase your cult or whatever they called it. Followers.
Yes, yes. Cult of the Lamb.
Yeah.
Which obviously is, and I knew it before they said it. It is also another Devolver game.
Yeah.
This could have been a Devolver Direct. I mean, they did those 5 games.
Here's the deal. Like that game. Yeah. Anyway,
Devolver is one of the best publishers on the Switch. I would dare say.
I agree. I'm not disagreeing with that.
Yes.
I just think this. Whether the games are for me or not, I try to put that aside. I truly do. But a lot of these games, they're following the same avenue of these story, dialogue heavy, point and click. Like,
okay, so this leads right into something that I saw clearly during this presentation, and that is that we are reaching a point, I think, where indie gaming in and of itself is starting to become super compartmentalized. And what I mean by that is it's either this type of game or this type of game or this type of game. And there's about 7 to 9 different types of games that they are, and all of them fall into that kind of umbrella. So it's either like super balls hard platformer, Souls-like 3D game, visual novel about dubious romance and animals, or roguelike dungeon crawler, which I mean, I'm a fan of that, but like how many of them can you make?
Yep.
Right. And then, or like quirky game that's kind of Animal Crossing, but it's not. And puzzle game.
Marty, we literally got a Shells-like game, which we've never had before.
It's a Souls-like game.
No, it was a Shells-like.
Okay. I saw that. I saw that. I'm
totally
also
new genre.
like, I was tracking with that game until it said Souls-like, and I was like, nope.
So
I'm out.
I'm going to say this real quick too, just the whole devil's advocate thing. I think it's another way to look at it is that we have gotten to a point where artists or people who want to create a game have an easier path, it seems like, to create games. So regardless of whether we're seeing styles repeated, it's still, they have a vision they want to share. And now we have a platform that they can easily do it on, or it's already been done on it, like on a PC side, and they want to bring it to the Nintendo audience. And Nintendo is always looking to grow their audiences beyond just the gamer that in those same in the AAA sense of those silos you were talking about. They want to go beyond those as well. So a lot of those things, yes, repeat on the indie side, but I think it's still a lot of those artists are sharing their version of those sameness things, I guess.
Yeah, their version.
Yeah.
And I want to say this too, before people were like, oh man, Marty's totally negative about this. I did think that this was one of the poorest indie directs that they have ever had. Honestly, for me, it was like, I'm sure I know that Tim was talking about Silt and talking about some other games that he really liked. And there's games on this list that I like, but it's less than 5. There's not much on here that I'm really super excited for.
Let me ask
if you
this
are,
real quick, though.
That's great. For me, I thought it was a low scoring presentation.
For me, it's the indie showcases. I never know what to expect. Even if I go to look on Steam what the big top indie games are there, most of the time none of those are in the upcoming direct coming up or the showcase coming up, and I'm surprised at what we get. It's like I can never guess, except for maybe like the cursed golf game. I think was we knew that was coming. I had a feeling or whatever, and sometimes we have a feeling some other things are coming in, maybe they don't. But most of the time, there's things I had never heard of, and that's why I'm always caught off guard. And there's usually something, if not a handful of things that I do want to check out. So I'm just trying to figure out how can something be disappointing if you don't know what's coming.
Yep.
Yeah, I think the other part that bothered me is if you look at the release dates, I mean, 50% of the games shown aren't coming out within the next 5 or 6 months. To me, that's not smart. I'm sorry.
Like the Gunbrella thing for 2023. It's like
there was a few. I mean, you're right. You have Wild Frost's Holiday. Who knows what that when that's the Crab's Treasure 2023. Idle Manager was the one at the end. August. The Guidebook Fall. Like these games are. It loses your interest, right? How many games have we seen in the direct and then not seen for years or months?
Yeah.
Marty, the hype is gone.
A few of those.
Pocket Rumble, Wargroove, King of the Hats, Silk Song,
Maniko's Night Market.
Maniko's Night. I thought about that one the other day. I was like, and here's the thing: like, I get the pandemic has been super disruptive, especially to indie developers.
Yep.
But just an update. Like, are you still working on the game? Because here's the deal. I don't have the time, even as a gaming journalist, and I'm saying that in that voice and putting air quotes around it, right? Because I'm not. I don't have the time to follow all their individual Twitter accounts to see all the updates, right? And so eventually it gets a little silly, I think. To speak to that 2013 thing, or 2023, I think that's absolutely correct. We expect those kinds of dates from Nintendo Directs, not indies. And I think it's a little off-putting when we see that. It's like, why show it? I'm kind of getting to a point now, especially this week after Redfall has been delayed, and what was the other big Starfield, the two big games for Xbox now delayed to 2023. We started 2022 saying, "Oh my God, what am I going to do with my wallet? I'm not going to be able to buy all these games." And then we've watched slip. War game gets delayed, slip. And now it's like, what? And I know Nintendo's got stuff coming out, and I know Xbox and PlayStation does too. I mean, that's not, and then that's not even to talk about our backlogs. Backlogs are nuts. But here's the deal. I'm getting to be like Jesse. And Jesse's line on this is, don't show me a game until it's gone gold. Right? Yeah. Like Nintendo did with Paper Mario or Origami King.
Yeah.
Hey guys, it's coming out in a month. There you go.
I think that brings up a great point, Marty, is, we see dozens of games released every week on the Switch. Dozens, right? And a lot of them are shovelware, whatever you want to call it. But why not do an indie direct then every single month and only show what's coming out within the next month? Here's what's coming out the next 4 weeks, guys. That would make people excited.
Yes.
Right? Not make people excited what's happening in 6 to 9 months from now.
69 months. That's a long time. Look, Drew. So, I mean, indie worlds have always had a lot of games that are released immediately. And I saw a tweet where somebody said there was actually 5 or 6 games that were released immediately. But yeah, it didn't feel like they were impactful games. I think Mini Motorways came out immediately, but we've been playing that on mobile for a while now. But I think it's really unfair to I love that Nintendo highlights indies, and I think it is one of the things that Sony does so badly, that Sony doesn't talk about their indies at all. And so a lot of indies never make it to Sony's platforms, and they've publicly decried Sony and how they handle those indies. So if Nintendo's listening, don't listen to Drew. Like, I love these indie worlds. And even if this one wasn't your favorite, I mean, we've got a bunch of games that we see here. I do agree a 2023 thing is a little weird, but I think they reserve that more for like Devolver Digital, where we are seeing that there are indies that are a little bit different than others. We get the one person indie, and then we get games that look like really good games. And I love seeing this like difference where I've seen indies that are just look awful, and you're like, oh God, you feel almost embarrassed. Like, I didn't like the music game, We Are OFK or something. I felt like almost like it was a demo cassette for some band, and they just put it out in video game form. But like, I love the weirdness, and like some of these games are going to be short and great and fun, and they're certainly not there to boost up stockholders in any way, or stock or anything like that.
Yeah, and I mean, like, I'm with you. Like, I fell in love with Nintendo's focus on the indies, back in the Wii U day, because that was like, they had to have that, right? Hear me when I say this, I don't mean it the wrong way. Nintendo doesn't need indies right now as much as they did. I'm not saying they don't need them, but they don't need them as much as they used to. And so it feels, especially a little bit like since Damon left and went over to Microsoft, it feels like maybe the focus is not as strong, or not as they don't I won't say they don't hype it up as much, but it doesn't feel like it has the same impact. If you go back and watch those first few indie worlds from when the Switch came out, it was a lot of games where it was like, oh my gosh, that's awesome. That's awesome. That's awesome. I need that. That's when we were seeing Pocket Rumble, Wargroove, Enter the Gungeon, Flint Hook, all kinds of games like that. Super Meat Boy was one that comes to mind. And that was one that took forever to come out. I mean, like, I think Justin played that when he was in Ireland at a game show, and then moved back to the United States or moved back to North America, moved back to Canada, and was here for like a year or maybe a year and a half before it came out.
And then it wasn't even good.
It wasn't. It wasn't great.
Do you think it's because the indies are kind of getting tapped?
I don't know if it's they're getting tapped, or that it's that we've seen some indies have such breakthrough success. Like, I look at Supergiant and Yacht Club, of course, with Shovel Knight, and who did I always forget this. Who did Dead Cells? Was that Devolver? Did they put out, and Devolver in and of themselves? Who did Dead Cells? I can't remember. But
the publisher for that.
I guess what I'm saying is here those three games and a few others like Enter the Gungeon and things like that are great examples of games that like transcended the indie thing and kind of became mainstream, if you want to air quote that. And I think that there's a lot of indie developers now that feel the pressure to produce that next Shovel Knight.
Well, I mean, as far as tap though, there's like, for a while there, it was like there was all these indie games that were on the PC that Nintendo could draw from, and they were out for a while. Now it seems like they haven't, like, there's some indie games that haven't been out long enough, either on the PC side, or they're not coming straight, or that maybe they're coming straight to Nintendo, but there's not all that hype behind it that they're like, all this PC community thinks it's the greatest indie game.
I think you're right about that.
And it has to come to Nintendo or something.
Because how many times have we heard since the Switch came out, oh, we got blank. Now here's 10 more indie games that need to come to Switch.
Yeah.
And or we get something like Ooblets. It's like, oh man, they ported Ooblets to as a cult classic. They ported it to the Switch, and now all of a sudden we got to have this, and this one. I see what you're saying. What happens when this runs out?
Right.
And we've kind of caught up in a way.
It's like, is is, again, I don't follow the indie scene on the PC too much. I mean, just started to. I try to see what's out there on Steam to maybe guess might come over to the Switch, but there's a few cool things out there too that I would love to see come to the Switch, but I never get it right because there's so many games. So I mean, in one sense, it isn't tapped, but at the same time, I don't think those games have been out long enough to get the hype to say, "Oh man, this would be so cool on the
Mhm.
Switch." And then then it ends up there, and then that's maybe another reason why we don't have the one more thing, because there isn't
Mhm.
one more thing to get excited about in the indie side.
That's true.
They could, I mean, they could have used like Gumbrella could have been a good
A one more thing.
thing.
And I don't, if they had done that, I don't know that the 2023 date would have stung as much.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not. It's not so much about like. No, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say I'm wondering why they didn't have it, and I'm wondering if they tried to like. There's two things I can think of that they're trying to reset expectations that there might not always be a one more thing, because we always expect it. It's not even a one more thing. It's like, whenever we watch these things and they say, okay, that's it, and you're like, no. And so they're kind of resetting. So now we don't know the next time they do an indie world if they have one, or maybe they had one and it fell apart maybe they delayed it and they just had it. They weren't ready. So they just kind of ended their presentation with the voiceover. Maybe that happened.
That's true. That could be it.
Yeah, I think that's totally true.
I always like the thought that Nintendo is trying to punish us in some way. So it's like, oh, you don't like our, one more thing the last time? How about we don't do it at all?
Tim, I worry about those tendencies with you where it's like, oh, they're trying to punish us. I worry about that. But before we sign off on this topic, I did want to say this. Tim and I don't think we got around to talking about some of the things that stuck out for me and you. We just kind of dove into the negative, which is okay. It's totally fine. But we mentioned the Leckhead, and I think that one is a standout for me. I did say there were probably 4 games that stood out for me. That would be one of them. Gunbrella is one as well. I'm hoping that is very early 2023. The other one is, and I'm going to mention this as a recommendation, not as what I've been playing, but I have played it. And so is Tim, and John, I assume, has too, because you mentioned it. And that is Mini Motorways. I think in some ways it's a really great game. If you've played the railway version of it, which is Mini Metro,
yeah,
it's kind of the same thing except with cars. And start on a map. You're connecting a shopping center and a house, and then others start popping up, and they're in different colors, and you have to make sure the different color houses can put cars to the different shopping centers, and you get bridges and roundabouts and traffic lights and overpasses and all kinds of things you get to drop in that are special. It's really kind of, it can get stressful, but in the beginning it's real chill. It's real zen, and I like it. I just like drawing the roads.
I liked Mini Metro, but I always got stuck after some point. Everything just fell apart.
Yeah.
Mini Motorways is much deeper, and like you can get further with it. If you liked Mini Metro, I mean, Mini Motorway it's such a step up.
I can't really wrap my mind around the concept of I've had this road here. It's been here since the beginning of my build, and now I'm deep in the game, and you're supposed to like be able to rethink it and blow it up and redraw it mid game, and I can't do that like that. I just can't manage that.
Blow your own mind up.
Yeah, the other game that I really, Wild Frost was the other one that I'm looking forward to, just because they said roguelike, and I mean that's it. And I'm gonna warily look out for Cult of the Lamb. I really like the art style. I did.
Yep, I agree with the art style.
It's interesting, and it's Devolver, and y'all, it's really, I mean, for the most part, I would say 99% of the time, Devolver don't miss. They're like the games that they publish
Absolutely
are really good, and so I'm looking forward to that. Tim, what about you? What are some games that you said you had a wish list?
Yeah, I did. I posted it on Twitter because that's where I usually, it helps keep me. All that stuff that we saw, it helps me remember the 4 things I liked out of it. But I actually, even though we've seen it before, seeing the card shark again was good to see, and then having a demo as well. I started messing around with that just briefly earlier today and want to keep messing around with that because it seems like it's got some interesting mechanics there. It's definitely not what I expected when I jumped into the demo. So, but Silt is another one because I don't know what it is about underwater games, but I like underwater games. And
I was thinking when that popped up, I was like, this is Tim's Shinsekai this year.
Right, yeah.
Oh, no.
So, don't worry, I'm going to finish Breath of the Wild. Don't worry.
Yeah. Poor Zelda.
So, but yeah, Silt was one. Electhead actually surprised me. Electhead, excuse me. Because I just liked the puzzle and the mechanics that behind that I saw there. And then also, Batora Lost Haven. That also intrigued me. What I saw there is from that game. So those were the 4 that stood out to me. And of course, mini motorways. But I didn't want to take a 4th spot there because I've already been playing that most of the year on Steam. So.
Yeah, so that's our Indie Direct. One of the things or Indie World thoughts. One of the things we like to do once one of these has come out is just kind of go and give it a grade. Everybody just kind of grade it, on a typical A to F grading scale. John and Drew, we'll start with you guys. What do you think as far as a grade for this presentation?
Hear it, Drew.
Go ahead, John.
If my excitement for these games pans out, because you just never know, and you can add Card Shark to that list, I'll give it an A-.
Oh, ooh. Okay.
I mean, 5 solid games. What more could you want from an indie world?
That's a good way to put it.
I mean, Wild Frost could be a game I play for a year if that's what I think it is. So
maybe.
Devolver Digital Devolver Digital and Chucklefish, I think, are definitely two of my favorite indie publishers, and they're up there. They're at least top 10 in terms of publishers all time. And they both have really great offerings in this indie world. So I thought it was pretty good. It needed a one more thing. It needed that tent pole game. But I mean, these games are all games I'm excited for. So.
Okay. Tim, what about you?
I'll give it a B+. Because again, I kind of going along the same lines as what John was saying. And what I said earlier, I never know what I'm going to get coming out of it. It's like I can try to guess, but I never know what it is. And to be able to come out with it with actually 6 games, but I know I picked 4, but 6 games total, I think that's pretty good. Do they overly excite me? No. I'm not like, oh my gosh, I can't wait till this date for this game to come out. No, but I'm excited about at least 6 games, so I'll give it a B+.
Okay. I haven't been this let down by an indie world since the one where they showed the game where you were in France riding around in a cab interviewing people. I can't remember the name of that game, but that one was just like I walked away going, "There's nothing here." Yeah. So for me, C-.
Okay.
Even with Gumbrella and Electhead. And hopefully we're getting a code pretty soon, or I'm going to buy Soundfall. That does look like a game that would interest me. Justin picked it up, and he said he's really enjoying it so far, but that's just his initial thoughts.
He's already done with it, probably.
He's sampled it. He's done. He's like,
you guys thought I was bad. Nobody says anything about Justin.
Yeah, nobody ever says anything about the game sampler. Tim, make a note here. We need a T-shirt that says official game sampler, like the Nintendo official logo.
We have that. We have the game sampler logo. So yeah.
Oh, there you go. We need to throw that out there. In the chat, let us know. Would you buy a game sampler T-shirt?
Drew, what's your grade?
Just a caveat on my soapbox. I'm gonna be harsh. Just I honestly feel like it was poorly produced. I think it was bad pacing. To Marty's point, the games just didn't. I don't think they portrayed them well. I mean, this is a fail. Straight out F. I think it failed. I think it was poor execution all around. This is not what Nintendo needed for an indie direct for a company point of view right now. It's just not what they needed.
This is coming from a guy who does nothing but buy $5 games on eShop. 3 hours ago, Drew sends me a picture of his Switch He bought Dungeons of Dreadrock. He's like $5. He's all excited, and now he's like, I don't like these indie games.
Listen, that one did not look good.
It looks fantastic.
Here's the deal. At first, I was like, okay, all right, roguelike, I'm into this. And then they were moving around like Cadence of Hyrule, and I was like, nope, I'm out.
Which one was that?
Dreadrock, Dungeons of Dreadrock.
No, that's not that one. If it is, then I want my $5.
Yeah, you're gonna want to submit a refund to Nintendo immediately. You need to go watch a YouTube video on that one while we transition to the next segment, buddy. Because I got some bad news for you. Speaking of bad news, this is not bad news. Let's talk about Nintendo's latest financial numbers and financial data that were released this week. This was actually 1 week late or later than they normally do this. And maybe there's some clues to why as we take a look and pick these apart. I'm just going to run down the list and hit some highlights here. For hardware, Nintendo Switch sold 4.11 million units from January 1st through March 31st worldwide. That leads us now to a total of 107 million, or let's say 107.6 or almost 0.7 million units sold. This broken down is so far 5.8 million OLED models have been sold out of what was sold this quarter. It was 1.86 million, which is about 45% of all the Switches that were sold. So that's pretty good. OLED's doing all right. Comparing this to last year, or bringing up what was sold in fiscal year 2022, 23.06 million units sold in the year, which is a 20% decrease from the year before. So if you're wondering why Nintendo has recently lowered their sales forecasts, here's a good bet, or here's a good lead on why. The forecast for fiscal year 2023 is now 20 million units. But this was still the second best selling year out of 5 years of Switch. Obviously, 2020 was the best selling year. So being the second best is not that bad. There are now more Switch hardware sales than Wii U software sales. So to put that in perspective, here's what that means. At 107.65 million units of hardware, Switch has outsold 103.48 million units of Wii U software. So there's a lot of software going on here. Software sales up 1.8% over last year. In fact, last year was the best year ever for software sales for Nintendo Switch. So out of 5 years, the best year. It's there, still knocking on the door of the two systems that have sold more than the Switch. Game Boy at 118.69 million. If forecast sales are met, that will be passed. Nintendo DS is still clocking in at 154.02 million. Just stopping here real quick, guys. What do you make of these hardware sales?
Yeah, I mean, it's dwindling, right? And you hate to say back to the stockholder stuff, right? But this is why you see a decrease in stock, because it's that, what's the future hold for stockholders? It makes you nervous as an investor. What Nintendo, I'm giving you money. What are you doing with it, right? And right now it's not looking great. And this is also at the end of a 5-year cycle, right? And we don't know what's next. I think the OLED, like you said, Marty, 45%. I wonder if that would be higher if the availability was higher, right? I wonder how many people that are going in there out of the 4 million sold and saying, and seeing both on a shelf and saying, well, I want the cheaper one. Do you know what I'm saying? Or
having to settle for a cheaper one if the OLED's not there.
Correct, right? And would those 4 millions be maybe 6 millions if the OLED was there, right? That's my take on it.
Yeah, Switch is still outselling the other consoles, which always makes me crazy. It always seems like there's pessimism on Nintendo, And it's weird because the Switch is easily going to become the second highest selling Nintendo console of all time. Easily, it's going to pass the Game Boy. I think it's about 11 million away from Game Boy. So it's easily going to pass it in a year. And it just always seems like, you know, you're selling hardware hand over fist, you're selling software hand over fist, and you just can't please the stockholders, I guess. They're always down on the Switch. I think the numbers are great. They're down, but we're talking about COVID and chip shortages having a big impact on those kind of numbers. They're really hard to, they're hard to compare right now.
I think the other big thing real quick is the software, though, is showing higher than the highest sales it's ever had. So how Nintendo spins that, I think, will help. However, with the investor side, what are they going to do with their software, especially with their NSO, or how much are they going to bolster that to make people pay more of a subscription?
Did the release of Dungeons of Dreadrock, was that announced before the sales were announced?
I must have been, because that would have boosted up a couple points.
Well, I think it's interesting to note that after these numbers came out, I think it was Famitsu or whoever publishes sales for Japan put their numbers out and they had a hiccup the week before and put out numbers for 2 weeks. And in 2 weeks in Japan alone, the Nintendo Switch family of systems sold 150,000 units in 2 weeks. Wow. Out of the top 10 selling games in Japan right now, 9 of those titles are Nintendo Switch titles, which is like Nintendo Switch Sports, I think, was the top one. It was like almost 350,000 units moved in 2 weeks. So I will agree with you, John. I think it's easy to do, Nintendo's doomed, but this news also comes out as Switch has in Japan finally passed 3DS in sales. So the Nintendo Switch family has overtaken the 3DS in Japan, which, if you know anything about that, the 3DS was gangbusters in Japan because of its portability and Street Pass and all that other stuff. So
and keep in mind, the Switch is more expensive than the 3DS, so it has a harder path to get to that number.
Yeah. Let's talk about some software numbers here. No surprise, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is still the number one selling game on Nintendo Switch, now having sold 45.33 million copies. Almost 2 million of those have been sold in the last 3 months. What this amounts to is one game sold for every 2 Switches this quarter. So it's like a 1 to 2 attachment rate, which is crazy. And the DLC is only going to drive that, especially since the DLC is rocking. Like, it's quality.
Mm-hmm.
So
is it? Has anybody been talking about it since like the first day?
No, but like people, here's the deal. Like, I see
a month.
I see more people playing it online than before. Than prior to the release of DLC. So, I mean, like I would see people every now and then, but I think you're going to get it's the equivalent of playing Mario Kart 8 and having all 10 coins and then getting another coin. It gives you the little fart boost. It's like, and you go just a very quick little boost. That's what each of these DLC infusions are going to be. It's really to just roll the cart past the finish line for Mario Kart 8 until they do whatever's next. At least I think so.
I think it deserves to have the top spot. I mean, it's so playable, and I love to play Mario Kart 8 online at any given time. Yeah. But and we should be getting another drop of tracks.
I would say that whatever the Summer Game Fest or whatever Keeley's putting together, Nintendo's going to have a presence there. I was going to say at the end of the indie segment as well. I think that a Leckhead, since it's summer 2020, I think it will be a shadow drop during Nintendo's Direct. I think they will focus on it for a few minutes and they'll be like, hey, it's available today. And I also think that we'll see the next DLC pack. I think we'll get some, they won't tell us all the tracks, but it'll be part of that presentation. Coming in at number 2, Animal Crossing New Horizons at 38.64 million sold. So you're looking at a 7 million almost spread there between 1 and 2. 1.02 million of those units have been sold in the last 3 months. Smash Brothers Ultimate still in at number 3, 28.17 million. Breath of the Wild at 26.55 million up next at 4. 5, Pokemon Sword and Shield, 24.27 million. And all of these, starting with 3 and under, are selling less than 1 million in the last 3 months. Mario Odyssey selling almost 500,000 units in the last 3 months, 23.50 million. Super Mario Party, not Mario Party Superstars, but Super Mario Party sold almost 400,000. It's up to 17.78 million. Then Pokemon Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl, 14.65 million. Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, 14.43 million.
Here we go.
And Ring Fit Adventure in at number 10, 13.53 million. And it sold over 500,000, almost 600,000 units in the last 3 months.
How amazing
That's interesting.
is that?
That's interesting. That's a big bump right there, right?
Oh yeah.
Well, New Year's resolutions, guys. I'm going to get fit, right? I'm going to, yeah. What I think is interesting to note here is if you look at Nintendo's top 10 on the Switch, it's made up of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 key franchises, or 6, if you want to look at it that way. But the big winner out of these 10 is Pokemon.
Yeah.
Pokemon has 1, 2, 3 games in the top 10 of Switch sales. If you want to count Smash as a Pokemon game because Pokemon are in it, you can do that. I mean, Smash is kind of its own IP, but think about that. And as well as
creeping up the rear is Pokemon Legends Arceus. So
Creeping up the rear.
Yeah, creeping up the rear.
And then he
That's
said
an expression.
Arceus. Yeah. It's Arceus.
Creeping up the rear.
Arceus sold. Get this. Now, here's the thing. We've not really seen any sales figures from Arceus because it launched in January. It sold 12.64 million units in the first 3 months of this year. That's still a pretty big deal, guys. Another thing that I wanted to note here is 35 first-party games are million sellers. The report didn't show updated sales for all games, only those that sold more than 1 million units for the fiscal year. I wanted to zero in on one that stirred the pot this week online, and that is the sales for Metroid Dread. Metroid Dread just shy of 3 million units sold at 2.90 million units sold. Now the best-selling Metroid game of all time. I'm gonna ask a question here that might make Tim mad, and that's okay. He can kick me off Zoom. I'll come back. I have the link. Here it is. When are we going to admit that Metroid is not a top-tier franchise for Nintendo? Drew, you nodded.
I'm playing a boo audio.
Never
you
played
nodded, and look.
Never played it.
Can I ask this, or can I say this about my question? I don't like this question, but we need to talk about it. Because, when people talk about Nintendo, they're like, oh, yeah, Mario, Zelda, Metroid.
Metroid
Should
Dread
we
was
do
not
that?
built to be accessible, though.
I know it
About
wasn't.
how hard it was.
But if
It was made for
two,
gamers, so they knew what they were making.
But Tim, here's what I'm asking. It's bigger than Metroid Dread. If Metroid Dread at 2.90 million units sold is the highest selling Metroid game of all time, when are we going to admit that this is not Nintendo's top tier title? Or it's not in the pantheon? It's not that this is not, that it is no longer, or maybe it's never been considered by Nintendo to be in the pantheon of top tier IP that they have. Like we would like it to be.
Yeah, the sales are disappointing. I mean, Metroid Dread barely beat out a game where Mario plays golf.
I knew
if
it
you
was
can believe
coming.
that.
I knew it was coming. Good.
I mean, if Mario Golf outsells Metroid Dread, just kill the Metroid
Keep it.
franchise.
That means more
It's-
Mario Golf.
But
it's a
Again,
crime. It's a
Metroid
crime. It only
Dread
sold 3
wasn't
million.
built to be accessible by all audiences. It was built for gamers.
But yeah, Tim. But in a way, I almost disagree because I mean, I'm going to be from the other end. I don't play Metroid games. I've never played them. Just they don't. I'm not a big Metroidvania style type guy. But I will say, if someone said, Drew, you should play Metroid Dread or go play like Metroid Prime, I think Metroid Dread is more advertising to me. I think that's an easier pick me up game than like a Metroid Prime game, right? In a way, I think that 2D platformer is a little bit more welcoming to somebody to the series.
It's an incredible game. I don't know why you haven't played it yet, but it really is incredible. And it's this. I don't think any of us are saying that Metroid is a bad game or anything. I think 3 of us on here are just like, it hurts our heart to see it.
Yeah.
But there's some weird reason why it's being
Like
outsold.
Hyrule
And it has an
Warriors.
easy mode. I mean,
And hear me, I'm
Ooh.
not asking this question, Tim, to antagonize you.
No, I know.
That is not why I'm doing. I'm asking the question because it's kind of like the cold hard reality, like looking in the mirror. Like, look at the fact that Metroid Dread has been out since October of last year and has only sold shy of 3 million units. Kirby has been out since the end of March and has sold 2.65 million units.
But it's more
And
accessible.
I know you keep going back to it's made for gamers. It's made for gamers. But here's the deal. We talk all the time about how we want Nintendo to invest in gamers. That, the Wii was great and it brought in a bunch of filthy casuals. But then when they went back to Wii U, we wanted them to focus on games again. And one of the missteps they made was a name that focused on casuals and not gamers. And here we all sit and we're gamers. And we're saying we don't understand these numbers. But the fact of the matter is Nintendo did cater to gamers. Gamers did not show up to buy the game.
Right.
And that's a problem. So where are they?
Because the gamers that this type of game is made for probably would have been better on an Xbox or a PlayStation.
And here's the deal. A lot of people whined about the price of this game.
Yeah.
And the other day when these sales numbers came out, that same old sad, stupid argument came up. It's been sold a lot more if it was $40. Sold a lot more if it was $30.
So
and it, you know what? Can I say this? And Drew, I absolutely want to get to your comment, but I want to say this. That's absolutely something you can say. But the fact of the matter is that men and women worked on this game who have to put food on the table.
agreed.
And we've been spoiled by years of indie 2D platformers that are made by a 5-person team and that take forever to come out. Metroid is perfection. And I don't know. What were you going to say?
I think Tim. I think it was Tim that just mentioned it. Might be onto something, right? So when does Nintendo realize that they have a franchise like Metroid, right? That's pretty well recognized. Obviously well loved. It's a genre setter. When do they realize, if ever, maybe we need to explore other options with our Metroid and put it on a PlayStation or Xbox? Just saying. It's all crazy, but what does that 3 million sales turn into? 10? I don't know. What does it do for Nintendo as a brand, as a name, as respect? I don't know.
Are we at a point right now where we're far enough past Metroid Dread that we can say something and not have to spoiler tag it?
I think so.
I don't know.
Okay.
Probably,
then here, I'll say it this way. I'll say it this way. Okay. The way that Metroid Dread ended would be a perfect time to take this series and do some kind of soft reboot to it.
Yeah. Because
that saga has ended. If you play through it and you see the ending, you'll know what I'm talking about.
Well, they say
this
this closes out that 5-game series.
Yes. This would be a perfect time for Nintendo to say, you know what, 3 million, okay, let's just go crazy with it, and let's lean into the space horror part of it. Let's lean into some of the more edgy parts of it. That would probably draw an audience.
When you count that as other M, and that didn't do well because they tried to go somewhere different with it.
That was because of the developers.
Okay.
Reggie just said in his book that he thought Other M was going to be like a watershed moment for the series. Like it was going to be this huge thing. And it obviously wasn't.
Right.
We're still here talking about, we're still here talking about, almost 3 million sales is not like something to scoff at, because you can certainly look below here and there's Game Builder Garage at 1 million, WarioWare Get It Together 1.27 million, Mario Kart Live, which they put a ton of effort
into.
Better
than new Pokemon Snap.
Yeah, that's true. It did better than Miitopia. Did better than Pikmin 3 Deluxe. It did better than Xenoblade Chronicles. So it is, there is some merit to it, but I guess what I'm saying is you and I and lots of people want Nintendo to, lift up the Metroid franchise. We want them to always make Metroid games. They're probably going to point to this as why they don't.
It's going to be interesting to see what happens with Prime. If Prime,
oh, absolutely.
If Prime 4 doesn't sell well, we may not see Metroid again for a long, long time again, unless they rehaul it, like you were saying. So to build it to something that would be more catering for a wider audience.
It's funny to me that there's a ton of people I see all the time who are talking about how awesome Metroid Prime is.
Yeah.
Oh, Metroid Prime is such a great game. And
it is.
If you ever say anything about Metroid Prime, they're like, oh, all these people come out of the woodwork. Metroid Prime, it only sold 2.84 million units. I guess what I'm saying is the amount of chatter that I see online about Metroid Prime doesn't match the sales. So there's some lying somewhere.
They could lose money on Metroid Prime 4.
They could
say it, but they could.
Well, considering how long it's been in development, they may have already.
To it, if they, depending on how we talked about them leading up to it, I think will help. If they can re-release the original Prime games, by remastering them,
they're going to have to. They've got to.
Hyped up for it, I think would help.
Do you think? I have some hot takes on games with female lead characters. I think games with female led characters tend to be a turnoff for a lot of male gamers. And I that might be a factor here, but the only way to sort of overtake that is to make the female character hotter. And Samus has always been a character that, while she did win the booty bracket,
she did.
Heck yeah, she did.
She's not sleazily dressed, right? So if I think of games with really big sales female characters, I think Tomb Raider, Lara Croft. She's pretty hot, right? Maybe Metroid Prime 4 Samus is just, her spacesuit is just a little more revealing or something. That might be the only way to recover it.
She has a glass suit,
honestly,
so you can see through it.
Yes. Well, maybe just totally zero suit, right? I think that might help too. I don't know.
It's a total protection when you're out there against,
It's zipped halfway down. Here we go. 10 million in sales coming up. Business Samus.
That's where Mecca comes in our chat and always talks about the waifus, so.
Yeah.
Samus is the waifu.
I have to say that seeing the sales of this and seeing what Nintendo did to lead up to it. It was almost like a month of Metroid, right? Leading up to it. I think there's some,
there's nowhere to point the finger other than.
No, the marketing was on point.
Yeah.
The sales are disappointing, but I honestly can't help but feel these sales would be higher if they had taken the time to re-release the entire Metroid saga leading up to this and let people be able to play the story. Because I remember when Dread dropped, there were so many people online saying, this is my first Metroid, wish me luck, or I'm playing Metroid for the first time. Yeah. You had a lot of people who came back to Nintendo for the Switch So that means they missed Zero Mission. They missed Fusion. They may have only played Metroid and Super Metroid. They missed Samus Returns. I would have loved to have seen them re-release all of these in a playable fashion on the Switch. And we said it then.
Yeah.
It's money on the table. I mean, we've got Metroid and Super Metroid, but like, where are the others? I found them. I mean, I played them all. I've got them on my Wii U.
Yeah.
But I don't want to drag them back out. Nobody does.
The problem with releasing the Metroid back catalog, it's fairly old. The first game is a very difficult. I can't stand the first game. Fusion
Zero
and
Mission
Zero
makes it
Mission.
good.
That's why I like
I love
Mission.
Zero Mission. I love it. It's my favorite one in the whole series.
Yeah.
But Fusion and Zero Mission are on the GBA.
Yep.
All the games are square screen. They're not widescreen. So if you release it, it's going to be a kind of a mishmash of stuff.
Well,
It
this
is.
is where I'm going into a different category, and I'll try not to go too deep. But this is why I was hoping that NSO's Game Boy games, Game Boy Advance games, well, their thing, rather than just being, play the Game Boy Advance games with somebody online, their thing would be that you can play it in the original form, or you can play it in a up-res mode or something. I don't know what you want to call it, but or a widescreen mode or whatever, so it's more playable and better looking on the Switch.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
those 16-bit graphics from the Game Boy Advance, I think, would hold up. But given that maybe they'd have to update some of those games, I think maybe holding it back.
Well, we could probably talk Metroid to death. We've probably talked more about Metroid here in the last 10 minutes than people have in months. But sorry,
Go buy
Tim.
Metroid Dread.
Go buy it.
Yes.
Seriously, it's really good. You'll enjoy it, I think. A couple other notes here from these sales. Digital sales increased by 4.5% year over year. But this is shocking, or maybe it's not. They account for 42.6% of total software sales for Nintendo Switch. So almost half of software sales are now totally digital. Digital sales in January through March were the second highest ever, behind only the previous quarter, which was October through December 2021. So lots of people going all in digital for Switch, or going more in digital. And before you think we're too doom and gloom, let us remind you that Nintendo does have a totally awesome slate of games coming out through the rest of the year. I want to remind you of a few of these. Of course, Nintendo Switch Sports is already out. That came out April 29th. Mario Strikers Battle League is out June 10th. It was revealed this week that online play will feature clubs where as many as 20 players can join in and compete against rivals. You know what that means, guys? Nintendo Dad's Soccer Club, or Football Club. I'm sorry.
That's right.
Football Club, FC. Fire Emblem Warriors 3 Hopes is out 2 weeks after that, June 24th. Live Alive out July 22nd. Xenoblade Chronicles out 7 days later, July 29th. Splatoon 3 on September 9th, and Pokemon Scarlet and Pokemon Violet late 2022, with still looming in the background Mario plus Rabbids Sparks of Hope, hopefully coming this year. I'm a little scared for this one.
Me too.
It's been so long since we've heard about it. I'm feeling 2023.
I agree.
It's like, when I said something, it's like, been a long time since we heard about the Mario movie. Oh, yeah, that's 2023 too. Oops. A couple other things that have been in here. Dragon Quest 10 Offline was mentioned as being released this fiscal year in Japan, but no other regions. No mention of Dragon Quest 3 HD 2D Remake. There was also a Monster Hunter digital event, which covered more details about the upcoming DLC, which drops June 30th this week, as well as information about a new Monster Hunter themed Pro Controller that will be released to mark the release of that DLC as well. And that actually looks pretty sweet.
Yes, it
And-
does.
I want it so bad.
I was gonna say, you're
Pre-ordering
gonna
for
ha-
Monster Hunter stuff is a nightmare.
You're going to have it. I know. You're just going to post a picture one day on Twitter and it's going to be there.
I want it.
You're going to be. Our last little bit of news here, a couple of release announcements. One of them that popped up on Twitter right before we went on air tonight, and that is Kirby 64, the Crystal Shards, will be added to the NSO expansion pack next week. May 20th is the date for that. That is Kirby's first foray into 3D, and it was a notable game for being able to combine powers. So like you could have a electric spike Kirby and different things like that. It's actually pretty fun if you've never played it. Just keep in mind it's 64, so it's going to feel a little clunky, but it's a good game. Also, on this coming Monday, May 16th, one day after my birthday, Fallguys are making a big announcement. It was also retweeted by Nintendo of America, so guess what the big announcement is? It's coming to Switch. I think
Fallguys is delayed to 2023.
Probably is. It's a big announcement. It's like, hey guys, here's some cute beans, but we'll see you next year. I bet it will release that Thursday. I bet it'll be May 20th as well. And I also, I'm going to throw out a prediction here. This is going to be like when Apex launched on the Switch. They're going to give you like some extras. It's like, oh, we're sorry, it's taken so long. Here's some costumes, or here's some whatever. Right?
That'd be cool.
Yeah. Here's a banana costume.
Yeah. Here's a Donkey Kong costume. Here's a Mario costume. I don't know.
Oh, that'd be sweet.
I would be on board with that. I think we're probably going to get some Nintendo themed costumes there. Well, guys, that's our news. Let's take a break right here for a word from our sponsor, Manscaped and Gooder.
All right, so Justin's not here, and also Drew is here, so I'm a little nervous because both those guys do really well at their ad reads, so I'm going to try to keep up with these guys. So anyways, summer is coming, the sun is shining, shirts are off, and your balls are smooth. You heard that right. Your friends at Manscaped are here to make sure your beach balls are as smooth as Floridian sand. In summer, you want to kill some cold beers and barbecues, not kill the vibes with your pubes peeking out your swim trunks. That's why Manscaped has their Performance Package 4.0 to keep the party in your pants looking crisp and refreshing all summer long. Dive headfirst into summer by joining the 4 million men worldwide who trusted Manscaped, and get ready for a hot guy summer by going to manscaped.com for 20% off free shipping with the code NINDADS, NINDADS. Again, for 20% off and free shipping. Now, Manscaped Performance Package 4.0 is everything you need to prepare the summer bod. Inside that package, you'll find their Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer, Weed Whacker ear and nose hair trimmer, and Crop Preserver ball deodorant, Crop Reviver toner, Performance boxer briefs, and a travel bag to hold all your goodies. All of that wonderful stuff, again, you can get for 20% off and free shipping with NINDADS as your code. Guys, what kind of stuff have you been preparing for your summer with Manscaped?
I mean, you got a Manscaped, right? I mean, I'm in my mind thinking, how do I keep this PG? And it's just
right.
The
Well,
words are coming.
You got a pool, so
yeah.
And first lessons of having to keep things clean around the pool. So I only imagine that you don't want to traumatize your kids or anybody else who's visiting by having anything peeking out from your trunks.
Well, so when you wear the Speedo, right, you gotta make sure you're clean. I did just get some new products from Manscaped. I will say it's pretty much, chafage happens. Chafage is a real thing. Marty said it just got back from Disney the other day. Chafing is a problem.
We
especially
cannot
after
talk about that enough, and make sure to get the right tools for that.
Well, and especially after you've Manscaped, right? That's when the chafing can happen. So but Manscaped now has a anti-chafing. I don't know if it's a cream or a spray. Whatever it is, I'll be using that lotion. Yeah, that's probably the right word. So, I mean, all the products are fantastic. I agree. I just said it last show. Not just pitching the ad read here, but the products work.
Yeah,
I mean,
we
at the
all
end of the
have
day,
it. We've all used it.
They work.
That's why we want you guys to have it and use it and get that 20% off and free shipping.
Absolutely. Like I'm on I just got an email from him. I'm on my third bottle or second replenishment of the shampoo.
Yes.
And so I love that stuff. It is fantastic. And quality products all around. Manscaped is great.
Yep. So remember, everybody, get 20% off free shipping with the code NINDADS at manscaped.com. This is the summer to turn your package into the full package with Manscaped. Now, in regards to Gooder Gaming, we have our Gooder glasses that we wear constantly, either on the show or outside of the show. So we're very excited to partner up and introduce the Nintendo Dads community to Gooder. We've done it for several months now, and we want to make sure you guys get access to some of these things, especially with summer coming up. Gooder thinks gaming is fun, and your gear should be too. Gooder makes fun, fashionable, and functional sunglasses that everyone can afford, like the ones Marty's wearing, if you're watching. Sunglasses for gamers. Why? Because gamers go outside too. They also have their blue Mirage glasses because apparently blue light is bad for your eyes. Like, I'm wearing my blue blocking glasses, and it helps a lot, even to where I actually can wear these while I'm working and not have to wear my regular glasses and feel like I don't get headaches or anything like that from staring at the screen for too long. So that's why I appreciate these. Some scientists say it causes eye strain, fatigue, headaches, and tail growth. So just to be safe, Gooder made these glasses with the ability to block blue light. Perfect for any screen, any face, any light, especially blue light. Designed to look good and fit comfortably on your face and under your headset, whether you're working from home, in front of a computer all day, or perfecting your avatar. Some may say Gooder makes the best gaming glasses ever invented. And by the way, again, that's NINDADS, the same code we were talking about before, for Gooder to get 15% off at Gooder. That's GOODR.com.
Yeah, and just so you guys don't think this is just like something we promote, so that because they sent us a pair of sunglasses, this pair that I'm showing you right here is a pair I bought myself because I love the product so much, and I loved this color, which is like I don't know if you can see, it's like a neon blue. Yes. With purplish blue reflective lenses. And these are super lightweight. I've gotten tons of compliments on these glasses. But the other one that I have, another pair, I actually went on a cruise a few weeks ago, and I lost my sunglasses on there, and I was wearing a pair of Gooders. When I realized, I went back, and of course they were gone. I left them somewhere, and they nowhere to be found, lost and found. I actually went and bought another pair because I do love, it's actually kind of like the style Tim's wearing right now. It's kind of a completely across the eyes lens. They're fantastic. And so if you're looking for good sunglasses that last, that hold up, that are lightweight, look good, you need to check them out.
You can tell what I'm looking at. So.
That's right. GOODR, Gooder.com. Use the code NINDADS. They love it. You love it. You'll get you some stuff. Well, guys, let's dive into our discussion time, shall we?
Now, I'm not sure if I had the right music for that, but it's what I had access to. So
it's okay.
Enjoy.
Great. Fantastic. Well, guys, as we talk about this week, a little bit of discussion on CEOs, especially CEOs of gaming companies, and how they represent that company. And where this comes from is talk in our Discord this week about the difference in Nintendo when Reggie and Iwata were respective presidents, and now Doug Bowser and Shuntaro Furukawa. Just basically the public face of the company seems to have changed, where Nintendo used to be more goofy, and Reggie and Iwata both were willing to participate in stupid skits like Bill Trinity eating all the donuts and hey, I need to take a break to go play on my new Nintendo 3DS. And who can forget the like fight scene at E3 between Iwata and Reggie? They're classic. We haven't really seen that from Doug Bowser or Furukawa since they have been respective presidents. And so we wanted to talk about that for a minute and talk about our thoughts on, does this affect things? Right now, besides Doug Bowser here in the United States, the only visible face for video gaming pretty much is Phil Spencer. And it's even reflected in Nintendo's Directs, which are now, if you noticed lately, the Nintendo's Directs are narrated by, members of the Japanese team and subbed in English. To go with this, Drew asked, I'd like for us to discuss a small topic of the pressure and influence of stockholders on a company. Example being both Nintendo and Disney are seeing large impacts lately. Drew, how about you unpack that question a little bit for us, and then we'll dive into it.
Sure. Yeah. I think as a company's point of view from today's world, right? It's rapidly changing from like a business economics point of view, right? Where you have your business side of the stuff with your stockholders and shareholders, and the pressure and power that they drive the company to make decisions, right? You want to make Metroid Dread 2? Well, shareholders don't want you to, and they're the ones paying the money, right? And then from the other side of the fence as consumers, really us, what's the pressure and expectation from us to the company, right? I want this, I want that. Where's my one more thing in my indie world? Where's this? So I think it's interesting concept that we had this discussion in the Discord, and I think you expanded a little bit more where it's a tough balance. I personally don't think a CEO of a company should be the face of the company. I don't think they should be. I think a good CEO should be behind the doors, working with those stockholders, working with them, the employees to drive a business, right? Because at the end of the day, we can push on the internet. It's so easy now to sit behind a keyboard and type and yell about what your wants and needs are, but they're running a business, right? It's about making them money. And I think it's interesting to see a lot of people say, well, I miss Reggie. Yeah, but we all miss Reggie. Don't get me wrong. Right. But it's a different time. And I know that it feels like it was just yesterday, but the world in the business side of stuff is moving fast, right? It's moving really fast, and it's cutthroat out there. There's no holding back. It's tricky. It's a tricky thing to juggle that not even myself understand. A lot of people just don't understand, I think, the economics of it.
Yeah, I think that it's a very hard thing to, especially like you brought Disney into it as well. You have here two companies that are seen as very family friendly, very family oriented, very family facing. And to that end, the thing that they have to juggle, or the line that they have to walk, is we're a corporation, we're a company, we are here to make money. But our fans and the people who love us want us to communicate with them as well. And the problem with that is that takes time away from making money.
It does. and I think we're in that transition and era, right, where it was all the consumers, both Nintendo and Disney, were happy with the products that they were seeing, right, in the company. The Switch was new. We got all these new games, Breath of the Wild and Odyssey, and the same thing with Disney, right? Disney was on a high. We're getting all these new rides, new parts, and then Bob Chapek came in Disney. Reggie left Nintendo, and you get more of the behind the scenes business stuff, right? Where again, the consumer, us, say, well, we want this, or we're not seeing what we're used to seeing. And it's that transition phase right now where it's different than what we had, right? Disney fans are not happy with what's happening. And I don't need into the details. If you're following anything about Disney, what's happening in Florida with politics and the parts and the cost of things, it's not good. And hopefully in 5 more years from now, both Nintendo and Disney has moved on. The consumers can be happy back to where they are. And maybe those CEOs hide in the shadows, or maybe a new CEO comes back in, but it's just that transition, and it's not the familiarity that people are used to. I think that's the tricky part.
I think too, the part of the issue is the difference between a traditional American company and a traditional Japanese company. Nintendo is very much slowly or even quickly in some ways reverting back to that very closed door, very inwardly focused Japanese style company, right? Where, we hold our cards close. We don't really interact with people. We just put out things. And if they like it, great. If not, oh well. Interestingly enough, as we talk about this, I think there's been some great insight lately on Kit and Krista's podcast about how marketing works and how they would have to sometimes communicate to Japan and things. And one of the things I thought was really interesting was Krista talking about how she used to dread Sunday afternoons after lunch because that was Monday morning in Japan. And that things were already rolling there. And she was like, my computer, I would open it up and it would be like, ding, 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 email. I need this. I need you to do this. Here's this thing. And so like the work for the week was already beginning on Sunday afternoon. I don't think that it helps Nintendo right now that this article has come along about contractors and about how they're treated and things like that. But on the other hand, I also want to say, this is like, if you did a profile on any company in America, this is probably a lot of them, how contractors are treated. I don't know. I see a lot of people commenting that way. But I think like it's easy. Justin said this a few episodes ago, maybe a while ago now, but I think it's really important is that he said it's really important for us to remember that for all the goodwill that we feel for Nintendo, like that they love us and that we're best buddies, and like we can go hang out after work and have a drink with Nintendo, they still just want to make money off of us. And so they're going to pluck the right strings and they're going to pull the right cards to do that. But the problem or the that has to be solved is how do we do that in a way where it doesn't look, quote, slimy corporate, but it looks like, hey, good friends.
Right.
Yep. Yeah, it's tricky. It's and we're going through a transition. Like I said, it's only going to get worse before it gets better.
And right now, due to lots of things, consumers are extremely fickle about everything.
Yep.
And so if you don't do it right the first time, not only are you going to hear about it, but if they have enough online clout, you're going to hear about it from all their followers too.
And that's the other thing you remember too, right? 15 years ago, we didn't have 20, whatever it was, the internet and stuff like we do today with all these media outlets, right? That stuff every couple of years, there's this new, phase of internet social media that someone can go gloat to or post insight, right? Or like you just said, talk about contractors and stuff like that. That stuff just wouldn't be picked up before, but it's more open now. It's more communicated. It's happening, and I think that makes it even more challenging for businessmen and women or CEOs of company, right? Because now you are walking on eggshells, and now you got to remember, if you have your face out there, anything you're doing or saying is being seen, it's being captured, and it's being shared.
And even now, after Reggie left, he's been asked a ton of questions about that whole, employee treatment thing. So,
and I think it's interesting
you're still going to get questions.
I think it's interesting for him, like what line do you walk there, right? Because I would feel like his time at Nintendo was extremely good for him. Mm-hmm. It certainly elevated him and his name, right? And so there may be some things that are negative, but is he going to talk about them? Because Reggie's brand is kind of like coming into a space and creating positive workspaces. So if he spills too much of the beans, then he's not on brand anymore.
Right.
Yep.
And so it's definitely something that Drew, I think you're absolutely right in your summary of a time of transition. I think there's tons of things in our society that are in a time of transition right now.
Mm.
And I think that the way that we respond to the products we love and the companies that produce them is completely one of those things as well. And I would add, like along with Disney, I think one of the ways that we're seeing that in a very like real time on the boots on the ground way is in the movie industry.
Yeah.
In the way people are responding to movies in theaters and on demand and things like that, and how times are changing, like I didn't watch the Batman in theaters. I watched it at the house with HBO Max.
Me too. I'm sorry.
Yeah. But, like it hit around the time when like it used to be that like if a big movie hit, like especially like a Marvel movie, and I was really excited about it, I was like, oh yeah, like we've got to go see that now. Like, but now it's because like we were trying to explain to our kids the other night. Like my wife was like, you guys, like a movie comes out and it's on demand in 2 months. You guys don't know what it was like back in the 80s to see a movie and it might come out next year on video.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and definitely like not to buy, just at a video store to go rent and get the opportunity to see it again one night, like, and they were like 6 months. That's a long time. I was like, yeah, it was a long time.
Yep.
It was things were so different, and the way we're consuming media is changing. Look at Nintendo's digital sales we talked about just a minute ago. Tons of things going different, and not all of it bad. It could end up being good. Thank you for that question. Thank you for that topic. I think that's good. I wish Justin had been here to talk about it a little bit, because he would definitely he would be like, all right, all of you are stupid. Sure look at all of you are dumb. Let me tell you why. It's my Justin impression. Let's dive in and talk about some events coming up, shall we?
Yes.
It's like a box of chocolates. You never know what you are going to get.
Yes, new audio again. Sorry, because I couldn't find the original. But anyways, the events that we have going on, we have the Cross Community Smash Tourney coming up Saturday, May 14th at 10 p.m. Eastern Time. If you're a Smash player in our community, we'd love to have you join it. It's just for fun, just for bragging rights or whatever. We've got about 4 people, I think, signed up. I'm one of them. So if you know how I play, please join, because you know that I won't be able to, help support the community all on my own. But thankfully, we got a few others that are better than me to play. So, but yes, come sign up. It's in our Patreon under the Let's Play channel. So you can go join that Discord and go sign up. All the details are there. And also, don't forget, Dinner Table happens every third Friday of the month. We'll be having our normal discussions with the community. We get together and just chat it up, have a good time talking about whatever's going on since the last time we got to hang out. So more than likely, we'll probably be talking about the latest Marvel movie and the latest Marvel happenings on Disney Plus. That's the way it's been going. We'll probably talk about a few games, probably talk about the Indie Direct as well, and whatever hot topic comes up by that point. So come join in every third Friday of the month. You can join in if you're a supporter via Patreon or Twitch subscriptions. And don't forget, you can use your Amazon Prime. You get 1 free month every month to use. So you can use that to subscribe to us on Twitch and get access to our Discord, which also gives you access to that dinner table every third Friday of the month. And that's at 10 p.m. Eastern Time as well. So
Awesome.
Don't forget to join that.
Can I ask this? Is Third Strongest Mole signed up to play Smash?
Yes.
Okay, well, there's your winner.
Yeah, we've got
just saying.
There's him, there's Sean.
That's him.
And so yeah, those two, and then the Informant, sorry, I think is also signed up. I think he was saying
Informant, Ninfrendo, Nintendo Dad, same thing.
Right.
Well, because Jesse's not here this week, we have no Pokeminutes, which Justin would have enjoyed immensely. I hate that he's not here to bask in the glory of this moment. However,
I would have bet $10. Oh no.
What? No, there's no
there
oh
was
no.
going to be a Robo Jesse.
No, there's no Robo Jesse. We're just going to skip to what we've been playing.
That one I had the right one for.
Awesome. John, we'll throw to you first as a guest of the show. You get to go first. Let us know, what have you been playing?
A lot of stuff, but I can get through it fairly quickly. On PS5, I've been playing some Fallguys this week. It's a game that I've been wanting to play more. It's gotten really hard. I don't know if you've played it. I played it when it first came out, and it was pretty fun. The levels are really hard. A lot of levels they throw at you. I don't even know what to do. So you'll have to kind of play through them a few times before you pick up on that. So, I mean, the game's just gotten more difficult. People are more competitive. They've been playing for longer. But I'm surprised how I can't get past the second round anymore. So, but it's still fun. I started playing Persona 5. It's too bad Jesse wasn't here.
Yeah.
I've been wanting to play this game for a long time. I was kind of waiting for it to come out on Switch.
Royale?
Not the Royale, because I figured the Royale would just be longer. Persona 5 is supposed to be like 90 hours, and I really don't know why I'm playing it. But I love Persona 4 Golden on my Vita, and so I'm playing 5. I'm probably like 7 hours in, and I still feel like I am being handheld every moment of the game. So I'm really waiting for it to open up. I have on as my in my party, so I think I have 4 people now in my party. Yeah, but I'm
slow start, I guess, huh?
It is a long, slow start. I'm in the first 10% of the game, so I'm looking forward to that sort of picking up. I know it will. I know there's big fans of this game, but I really wanted to see it, and I like the way it's told. It's being told in the past tense, but we're looking back at Joker's past and going through his story. So.
I loved what part of that game I played too, but I'm going to tell you this. It's for me, it's the Majora's Mask problem. I hate any game that puts me on a day timer and is like, hey, you've got this many days to find this. No, in a role-playing game like that, I want to explore every nook and cranny. I want to do all the jobs. I want to, I want to get it right. I want to get to the end of the game and have the good weapon. That maybe you had to get 20 hours in and just hold on to it. Yeah. I don't know if that's a thing in this game, but I do love the music. I love the dialogue and the art style. I wish that I could play it portably.
It's got, I know, I really wish it was portable. It's got such amazing panache. I mean, it's just oozing with great animations. And when you win a fight, you get the classic Joker kind of running that they kind of put in the smash when he wins. Yeah. It's so good. It's such great transitions and stuff like that. Good voice acting, good graph, everything. I'm just waiting for it to open up just a little bit, but I guess I'm enjoying it so far. I've been playing Life is Strange True Colors on the Switch. I never had a physical version of this game. Obviously, it's my favorite game series, whatever. But I didn't have a physical version of True Colors, even though I've bought it on Xbox and PlayStation. So I was waiting for a sale on the Switch, and it happened. And then I decided to just play it just to see, how bad is this game going to be? And it really looks great on the Switch. I am really impressed. I'm able to just play it. I definitely see some differences, of course, especially when you're in a building and you can't see out the windows. But it is really good. So I've been playing it. I'm through the first episode. I know this game inside and out. This is my 3rd playthrough. But yeah, I'm really enjoying it, and I'll get through it eventually. Made a little bit of a mistake. I tried this game on Game Pass. It's Curse of the Dead Gods. I had tried this game on Game Pass after Hades because it was kind of a Hades-like. And I thought I had kind of liked it, but just wasn't ready to play it. Then they announced this for PS Plus. It was a free game for this month, and I was quick to download it. But I decided to check on Switch, and it was on sale on Switch for $13. And I was like, you know what? This would be a great portable game. I'll get it on Switch. And Drew and I kind of played this game together. I kind of talked Drew into buying it. Drew, I'm sorry. I'm really
yeah, should be.
I feel bad. It's just not the best. It suffers from one of those things where the reason why Hades was so good is the power-ups were just felt amazing. You just became stronger and stronger as a character. And there's a lot of games that do that, and they do that well. You just feel great. You're just constantly improving. Dead Cells was like that. You're constantly getting some new power-up every like minute, and you just feel amazing. And then there's games like Hollow Knight, where you're just constantly made to feel small and weak and wimpy. And yeah, I don't like Hollow Knight very much. And this is one of them. Like when you get power-ups, every power-up comes with some power down as well. So they'll be like, oh, you'll get more gold, but the gold will explode. It's just, you never feel like you're getting anywhere. I had this comparison with Slay the Spire, which is a great game. You're always getting new cards and everything, versus a game like Griftlands, which you just always feel small. The power-ups just aren't substantial. The game has a light and dark sort of thing where if you're in the dark and you get attacked, you'll take 50% more damage. So you're constantly having to get near light and fire, and you have a torch, and there's some like lanterns you can light up, but it's like, you can't just like throw fire or anything fun. You have to like walk up to the torch and press A, and it's kind of slow and the enemies can hit you. I don't know. It's whatever. I didn't have a lot of fun with it. I think I'm kind of done with it. I kind of hate that, but it just didn't really do it for me. So I don't know. I don't know if anybody liked Curse the Dead Gods. I'd love to hear if I should keep playing or not. Sorry, Drew.
Should be.
And then I've continued to play Switch Sports. I love Switch Sports, kind of warts and all. I think you guys talked a lot about it last week. There's definitely some things in this game. I wish there was more special modes. I loved the bowling special modes. I missed the 100-pin bowling. I just like special modes, like challenges, stuff like that. I super
miss 100-pin bowling.
Yeah.
A weekend, 10-10 can confirm. Wish we still had 100-pin bowling.
I think 100-pin bowling will come eventually.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
As paid DLC.
Make some fun modes where I'm like playing tennis and hitting targets and stuff like that. I feel like it's a little drab, but I love bowling and I love soccer. I will play them every day. I'm really good at the bowling, especially when they don't put the obstacles in. And I can make a lot of points. I mean, I can get like 112 points around usually if I win, and I win most of the time. But I love the soccer. The soccer is so much fun. Sometimes you get stuck on a really crappy team and you just want to scream at your teammates, and there's just always some moment that happens, which is just fantastic. I had a moment a few days ago that I tweeted where it's a 4-on-4 game, but like 2 of our teammates had dropped out. So there was 2 of us left against 4, and my teammate was playing goalie and I was the only offensive player. And somehow he hit a pass to me, got past a guy, and I kicked it from like a third of the way back, and we beat a team of 4. It was amazing. There's always sort of a moment. I really like it.
I've had it since release day and have not even touched soccer, like not even opened it.
Soccer's so much. You got to try soccer. It's so much fun. Do the 4-on-4 soccer. It's really good. I kind of suck at shooting a little bit. You really have to control your dash. That's how I feel. It's easy to want to just constantly run, but when you get tired, it takes a long time to build it back. I think a lot of times you don't need to dash. Just play it slow, play back. But I love a lot of fun. I'd love to play with some people in the community if anybody else likes soccer. I think it would be fun to play online. And the last thing I will mention is I downloaded the Card Shark demo. I did a 30-second review on this. If you want to see it, you go to youtube.com/dadsafterdarkshow. But I downloaded it the day of the Indie World. I played through it. I'm kind of caught between if Card Shark is what I expected it to be and not what I expected it to be. It's a beautiful game. I don't think it can be stated enough. It is gorgeous, especially on OLED. The animation is all hand-drawn. It is a spectacle to see. That really did surprise me because I wasn't like caught by the graphics when they did all the trailers. But the game itself is very much like a series of mini games where there are, they tell you up front, there's like 28 tricks that you're going to be taught. You're going to be taught 3-card Monty. You're going to be taught how to like predict where a card will be. You're going to be taught how to cheat at poker. And they teach you the mechanics. The mechanics are always kind of fun to do. You know, you press down to shuffle a deck. You press left to in-jog a card. It's fun, but you're really just being taught how to help this guy cheat at stuff. And then you go and you play games and you bet money and you try to win money. If you lose, you can be sent to jail and you have to get bailed out. It's kind of weird. And I had gotten stuck in the demo. There was like something they weren't explaining right, and I got totally stuck, and that's where my 30-second review ended. But one of the people working on the game actually wrote me and said that looks like that was a bug. And so I kind of restarted and got past it. And it does open up a little bit. There's a little map, and you can go to certain places and gamble. And I think when you win enough, they close them off. But I just don't know if this is a game that's going to hold my attention the whole time. And what I will say is if you are easily distracted while you're playing a game, like if you're playing a game and you kind of like look at your phone a little bit or just kind of just you're not really focused, they ask you to do things and you're just like, wait, which direction is it for the spade? Which direction is it for the club? I've constantly found myself like, wait, what do I do?
I wrote those down. I wrote those down.
Okay. Yeah. And if you like put the game down and come back the next day and then they're asking you how to like cheat in the poker game, you're like, I don't remember the controls at all. So I don't know if I'm going to end up getting this game. The last thing I'll say about this is this is one of those demos that might hurt the game more than helped it, because if they didn't put out this demo, I for sure would have bought it. This is a long demo. You can play for a pretty good long time, and they teach you a bunch of tricks, and it's open. And I never even got to the end of it. And yeah, I'm curious to see what people think of the demo. But I don't think I'm gonna play it. I'll see if the reviews are really good, and like maybe there's something that I'm missing that comes later. You know, because demos can be a little misleading as well. But it's just kind of a series of mini games, really. But really pretty, really cool, decent story and stuff like that. So it's not all bad. It's a pretty good game, I guess. Yeah, and that's what I've been playing.
Cool. Well, Drew, you are looking like the world's sleepiest man. I'm not gonna lie. I know we're way past your bedtime, and Drew is going to tell us what he's been playing, and then he's going to drop off. And we want to say before you do that, thanks so much for being a part of the show. We love what you guys are doing over at Dad's After Dark, and we're going to talk in a little bit about how to find you guys.
Yep.
So just tell us what you've been playing.
Yeah. John suckered me into spending $15, like you said, on John, I don't know the name. Curse
of the Dead Gods.
Dead Gods. So he went over it pretty well. I have the same opinions as him. I'm close to being done playing with it. It's not as rewarding as I was hoping. I did just finish up playing through WildCat Gun Machine, based off of a first play on your guys' channel by Hambone Johnny. I played through the whole game, beat it. It was fun. I enjoyed it. I think it was a little. Did you play this, Marty? It seems like a little bit.
I didn't
type of game.
like it. It did, and that code was actually offered to me first. But I was just completely honest. The art style for the monsters and the enemies just totally grossed me out. I was like, this is not for me.
Yeah, it's not. It was okay. It was. Like you said, it was lackluster in a little bit, but it's a twin stick shooter, bullet hell type game. The difficulty curve is ridiculously odd, where I beat the whole first world without getting hit, like dying once, where I was dying millions and millions of times. But yeah, overall, I finished that up. I'm playing some Mario Golf on the N64. I'm playing and that's really it. I did just download the Dungeons of Dreadlock, so we'll have to see. I'll have to talk about that next show. And that's it for me. I'm kind of in between right now before the next big game. So, like I said, I want to thank you guys for having me on. Sorry I couldn't stay all night, but absolute blast as always. And thank you guys for having us all the time and supporting us right back at you.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Actually, before you go, too, there is a quick community question for you, if you don't mind answering that question.
Sure.
Solo something says, if you got a PS5, Drew, what
Mhm.
would be the first game you would want to play to platinum?
Mm. Well, I tried looking this up for like a PS5 exclusive, and first of all, I'll probably never get a PS5, so let's be blunt about that. I don't know. I'd probably go some big open world, Horizon or like a God of War. There's nothing that like I need to play that game.
Okay.
But something along those lines is probably what's jumping out at me.
Sure. And while you're here too, Solo did say thanks to you both for the time you put into doing Monthly Mayhem and the Bounty Board. Really does add to a sense of community to the Discord.
Mostly
Great.
Drew,
No. So,
especially all this golf stuff.
well, passion. But
So,
all right. Thank you guys. I'm going to head out. Have a good rest of the show. And thanks again.
Good night,
Cool.
Drew.
Absolutely.
See ya.
See you, Drew.
Good night. We can talk about you now behind your back.
Absolutely.
Tim, as he's heading out, why don't you tell us what you've been playing?
Sure. I've been playing a few things. Well, I guess tried to when I was sick, and that was not working. Because I was thinking, like everybody else, was talking about being sick, and I was like, man, if I got sick, I wonder if I would have all this time to be able to catch up on games. Nope.
You think you will.
You feel like crap, so
Yep.
you don't want to stare at anything.
You don't want to do anything.
I
It's,
just want to sit there and drool while I'm watching TV or something. So, but once I did start feeling better, I started playing a little bit, just a few things here and there. I played a little bit of Game Pass, Monster Train on the Game Pass. I really like that. Kind of reminds me of Slay the Spire that you guys play there, John. But the Monster Train is, I like trying to get through, a run of those. So those are fun for me. And then I've been playing on my PC, Magic the Gathering Arena. Starting to get back into the Magic the Gathering card game. And there's a new set out that I've been really getting into because I like the aesthetic of it. So I've been jumping into that there. And then on the Switch, I beat my third Divine Beast on Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. So that was I never get their names right, but the big guy won. So
Yeah, the names are weird.
yeah. So the boulder guys with the Death Mountain, I had to beat the Divine
Gorons.
Beast.
Yeah.
Yes, that the thing that was crawling all over the mountain. So I beat that, and so I'm excited to start making my way down to the southwest corner of the map to unlock one last piece of that part of that map down there, and then go further down to beat that Divine Beast in the desert.
Tim,
Yes.
what did you think about when you're going up to that Divine Beast, the fire dude?
Yes.
When you have to do that, when you have the I forget the young Goron's name that you're sort of escorting.
Yes.
What did you think about the gameplay of that?
Nothing stood out to me other than I thought it was
You got to tell him to like stop. Then you tell him to go. But
yeah,
like,
okay, so that part, yeah, when you're trying to go through the path to avoid the scout drones.
yeah.
Yeah, and you have to tell them to stop and stuff. I went so far ahead to like take them all out, and then I would go back to call them back to follow me, that it really didn't have any effect on me.
Oh, okay.
And then the other part was the interesting part was the cannonball effect. Just being able to shoot him off through the cannonball to hit the Divine Beast, so it would move up the mountain.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was very interesting as well, and it's funny too because the first time I tried it, I thought I had to use the Goron when he's in the cannonball and shoot the drones. So I kept trying to fire him at the right time to hit the drones off in the distance, and it wasn't coming close. I'm like, what am I doing wrong? And finally, I just had I was making it more complicated than I needed it to be.
Yeah.
All I had to do was hit the Divine Beast and move on.
Good thinking, though.
Yeah. So, but it's really exciting and fun to be able to get through this game and stuff. And I've been trying to stay focused, although I did deviate a little bit and go back to my house that I bought with all the wood, that I collected during this time. and added some displays to be able to hang up some of the weapons I've collected over this playthrough. So, and again,
Have you
everybody, just to
done-
remind everybody, this is my first playthrough since 2017. Been
Oh my
playing for
gosh.
5 years.
Oh my gosh. Have you done the Terrytown quest yet?
The Terrytown quest. What?
It's the one you have to, there's like a whole bunch of subquests and it builds up this whole like town.
Is that the one by the water? Or am I thinking something else?
No, well there is one quest where
Or
you
that-
lose all your items and it's, I forget, it's like it's something island or
Oh,
something.
that island I did go try once, but I tried that the first year I was playing, I tried that island.
Okay.
And I
That's one of
I
my
left it
favorite side
immediately.
quests. Yeah.
No,
Well, you
I
know,
didn't-
after you
not
play-
immediately. I tried to go through, do a run where you lost all your weapons and stuff like that. I thought it was a lot of fun, but then it was like I felt it was derailing me from the main quest. So I
Yeah.
was like, I'll come back to this later.
It's a
So,
fun quest after you've played like 60 hours of Breath of the Wild, and then you get the feeling of like
You
the
get the-
beginning
yeah.
again.
yeah.
Yeah.
And
that's
that's
a good
something
one.
I'm like I've talked about before. I'm definitely someone you probably would label as a casual gamer because I don't play as well as say Marty does when he's going through Castlevania or you know you John when you're going through your 100 games a day, you know, that you play. So
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. I don't see how you finish everything.
he's a dad that finishes. So
I didn't finish Curse of the Dead Gods.
that's
Well, that's true.
Even Tide Island. That's the side quest.
Oh yeah, that one
So
is
much
a
fun.
Yeah.
booger. It's fun though. It's fun, but
Yes.
it's hard.
It is
It's
one that I
definitely difficult.
tried and then I walked away from. But that was during the first year I played Zelda, and I haven't gone back to it because I've been all over the map now. So, but
Gotcha.
like I said, I'm having fun with that and looking forward to going to unlock the other part of the map I have left, and then again staying focused on the fourth divine beast. And then
Which one's the fourth one you're gonna do?
The one I have is the one in the desert.
Oh,
So,
Oh, okay.
where I
That's
have
the
to dress up as a girl, I think, to
Mhm.
get into a certain area.
yeah.
Because I was starting to go down that path, but then I was told I had already beaten the first year. My first divine beast, I think, was the elephant. I beat that a long time ago, so I had the elephant. That was my first divine beast that I beat. And then when I went back to it this year to play, the second one I went for because I heard it was the best one to have was the flying one.
Yeah. Oh yeah. The wind one is the best.
Yeah. So that's when I went for that second, and then it didn't matter which one I went for next. I just went for the mountain one because it was the closest.
Well, the desert one is the hardest one and
Okay.
maybe the most obnoxious one. So you've saved the worst for last. Congratulations.
Excellent. Thank you. I'm glad I waited for that one, I guess.
Just wait till you fight that boss. Ugh.
It's interesting too because like I was saying, I'm not as coordinated as a gamer as some others are. So it takes me a few tries. Like people were watching me play when I was doing a stream of it, and they were getting frustrated because I wasn't dodging appropriately or something. So
Man, it's cruel.
yes. So, but I'm playing it my way and having fun. So and that's the main thing about Breath of the Wild. I think is the best about it is everybody's approach to the game is different, yet everybody's goal is the same. That's get rid of the calamity. All right, and then also I played Card Shark demo just a little bit, not as much as you. I won't go into details because you did really good with that. So I just got through the first tutorial about, like I said, I wrote down the how to tell which suits there were, between what did I write it down?
Yeah, you wipe a rag.
Yeah, you gotta wipe the rag. Let's see, clockwise for circular motion for hearts, counterclockwise for spades, straight up and down for diamonds, and left and right for clubs.
I downloaded this demo earlier today, and thank you guys. It's going to be an easy delete after the show. That just showed, like, I was on the fence. I was like, oh, it's a demo. Nah, I'm not even going to try that.
Right.
It's like wax on, wax off.
That's just one part of it too. So, but
Nope. I'm noping my way on out of here.
there you go.
Done.
And I downloaded a bunch of stupid things too to try, but I got to stay focused on Legend of Zelda.
Gotcha.
You do.
But that's what I've been playing.
Only 3 games for me this week. Finally passed level 100 in Fortnite for this season. So I'm done. I think it ends the first week of June. So I'm going to kind of take a break from here on out unless there's an event. Like I just kind of need to not play that for a while. What I have been doing is playing a lot of Nintendo Switch Sports. And mainly to use what little time I have to be able to play when I have internet connection to grind out those items. And so I have finished all 3 of the first sets, thanks in part mostly to becoming a C- rank in bowling. Because once you get up there in the ranks, you get buku points. Like there's some games, if I do well enough and make it to the finals, I get over 100 points. So like there was one where I was just right at it and I got over 100 points. So I had 200 to spend and got the final 2 items of the soccer series. But now they've released a 4th page where you can unlock a squirrel costume.
Yeah. No, you just become a squirrel.
But
I'm
going to be real honest with you. The offerings in these first 3 pages are awful. They're atrocious. They're terrible. I'm wondering, and I don't mean this in a bad way. Okay, it's when I say this, but I'm just going to put it out here. I'm wondering when we're going to get some more less effeminate clothing. I'm just saying.
You don't want to be a squirrel?
No, and I don't want to wear like neon shorts and a Hawaiian shirt combo with flip flops. I would really love it if you were.
You want Mario wear? You want Zelda wear?
No, Tim. I want jeans and a t-shirt. That's
Okay.
all. Like seriously, that's all I want. Is just a pair of jeans and a t-shirt. And why can we not mix and match these looks? Like why can they not take take a top from one and a bottom from the other? It's not hard.
I wonder if there's again from the pandemic having people work from not in the office but separately. I wonder if it limits them to how much work they've been able to put into some of these games that they release.
Honestly, I don't know, but like I love this game. I love Shambara. I've developed a love for Shambara, volleyball, and bowling. Those are my 3. I've ranked in those. I am horrid at tennis and badminton. They're the same game and it's awful. The other 3 are great. I haven't even played soccer.
Gotta play soccer.
All. I'm going to tomorrow. It's just yeah. So anyway, I've been grinding that out. I'm going to finish the 4th page. By the way, data miners this week found 28 pages worth of costuming stuff.
And we will get every item, Marty.
Oh, we will. We will, because it's now an obsession.
I grinded out the entire page today when I saw the squirrel thing, and I got a new hairstyle. I was wearing a tube top for a couple days because of the lack of costumes. I was pretty hot, I will admit. I had sort of like a Weird Al afro thing with a tube top, face tattoos, like a Post Malone.
Nice.
But yeah, I think they're saving up for the, Mario, Metroid, Zelda kind of when those cards drop, man. Oh, all over it.
Right.
Oh yeah, there's gonna be Nintendo items. Absolutely. There's no doubt that that's gonna come. I really wish that they would lean into a little bit of like, here's my dream. Okay. I wish they would have a page dedicated to Mii's, where it would make your arms and legs invisible, and it would be the floating bodies with the little hand.
Yeah.
I wish they would do that. Just
a throwback, right?
Yeah, absolutely. The other game that I've been playing is one that's already been out for a while, and I just dipped a toe back into yesterday. I was like, I forgot I had this game. Do y'all do this? Do you forget you have games on your Switch?
No.
I do. I do. I have so many. It's an epidemic. It's a problem.
I can't do it because I don't have a terabyte.
So I made a folder called backlog, and I've dedicated myself right now, since there's like Nintendo Switch Sports is the big game I'm playing, right? I wanted to start a backlog game. I was playing 80s Overdrive, and I kept getting stupid furious at it. It was okay. It's needlessly difficult in some places. It's just to extend the time you play the game. But so I deleted it. I was like, I'm done. This game is making me. It's toxic. It's gone. So the next one on the list, because they're alphabetical, is Actraiser Renaissance, which I have thoroughly loved the like 5 hours I've put into it over the last couple of days.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. I loved Actraiser back in the day when I had it for my Super Nintendo, but I was too young at that time to like really understand it or know what was going on and really have a grasp of the mechanics. I just wanted to get to the next part where you fought, did the side scrolling things.
Right.
But man, I am loving this now. It is so good. They fleshed out so much to make it a more full and vibrant game, added mechanics and things like that. And they just recently added a brand new update that took away some of the Renaissance action, so it made it more close to the original game when you're in combat. And I like the new stuff, so I'm not going to turn that off. But this is a solid game. I like really, what? Yeah. I hate that it was one of those games that I bought or downloaded, and then it was like something else came along and it got shoved under.
Right.
So I probably going to play this one to completion, and I don't think it's going to take all that long. It's not a hugely long game, but so far so good. And it's something that you can like drop into and play a little bit and like do your sim parts. Nice. And protect the town, and then drop out and be like, okay, I did something. You see progress.
Yeah,
so
you
that's really
and
good.
Jesse playing this, it's on my wish list, so for sure. So, which is kind of my backlog, even though I didn't buy it yet.
Yeah.
At least I don't feel guilty for not playing it. Cool.
True. Yeah, if you don't have it, you can't feel guilty.
Right.
Well, that's what we've been playing. Let's move on and turn on the community spotlight, shall we? And our community spotlight this week is focused on Dads After Dark. And John, we're going to get you here in just a minute to talk about that. But before we do that, Tim, why don't you give us an update on this request for community content?
Yes. So just a reminder again out to everybody, I've already started getting videos from people, which is awesome. Got some excellent stuff. But basically I asked a few weeks ago for people to submit, if you're listening to the Nintendo Dads and you've been a long-time listener, or you found us and you're still sticking with us, just submit a 2-minute video or less, just telling us what brought you to us, why you've been hanging out with us in the community, because I want to put together a montage essentially that kind of shares for anybody who drops into our Patreon, our Twitter, our Twitch, YouTube channels, to get that first video of not us telling you why you should, hang out with us, but you guys telling other people who come to us for the first time why they should consider hanging out with us. And that's why I'm asking for these 2-minute or less videos. It could be just you. It could be you and your family. Like I had some people ask that question, like, hey, can I have my family in it? I was like, of course. In fact, Hambo and Johnny had his son in it. So in his video that he submitted, which is really cool. So again, 2 minutes less, be as creative as you want to be. It can be as simple as you want to be. It's just as long as I can get it in a video, that would be awesome.
You can write a song for us and sing it.
Yes.
You can also send in a bonus video and tell me how much you appreciate me for my birthday this Sunday.
Yes. You can sing.
I'm just kidding. No, don't. Please don't do that. I would.
All entries are due by Friday, May 20th.
Yes, get them in. Talk about how much you love everyone on the podcast, and how please extol our virtues.
And we are also giving away eShop cards too for everybody who's taking the time to do that. So not everybody. Let me take the back. Not everybody's gonna get one. We're gonna have drawings from.
Which translates to we're bribing you to talk about how good we are.
Yes. Yes. So please do that.
I'm just giving you a hard time, Tim. I'm sorry. So
I'm bribing. That's what I'm doing.
That's fine. That's fine.
The
So
more compliments, the more the eShop cash you get.
that's right. Yeah, they stack and it's a multiplier. And then if you do enough compliments and you cross 100 points, we enter you in a random drawing for either a hairstyle, a color of hair or eyes, some titles you can use for yourself, or some neon things, or a wooden bowling ball. I mean, that's you get the authentic Nintendo Switch Sports experience.
Yes.
John, before we talk about these updates to our family of podcasts, you are part of our family of podcasts with the Dads After Dark show.
We are.
And we would love people, if they don't know already, to know where to find you and Drew and the show, how they can listen, how they can support you guys. But also, if there are listeners who don't know what Dads After Dark is, I mean, they could kind of listen to the name and maybe infer that. But would you explain your take on the show and what it is, and all that pertinent information?
Oh, thank you. Yeah, we're the Dads After Dark show. Drew and I, we've been kind of partners with Mayhem and some of the contests that happened before it. So we've been around the community for, I think it's my 5th year now. But yeah, a couple of years ago, we started the show based on, I think Justin was so impressed with our monthly Mayhem YouTube videos. He's like, do you guys want to do a show? And I was like, can we do an After Dark show? And here we are. So yeah, we're the Dads After Dark show. We're kind of a bi-weekly show. We do a show every couple weeks, but we'll squeeze in some special episodes in between. Sometimes if there is an event, Drew and I were debating if we should do one about Indie World, but we decided we were going to talk about it here anyway. So we'll try to sneak in some stuff. We'll do some different things. Our big focus is contests. We still run monthly Mayhem. If you haven't done that,
yeah, you do.
Yeah, we do a contest roughly once a month. We often will put some time in between just to take a break. But we'll generally have a contest, a high score thing, or a tournament. Like we've done Mario Kart, Mario Golf. In fact, our first monthly Mayhem was when Cuphead released on Switch. And yeah, we'll do a contest. First place will usually get like $15 in eShop credit. And then what we'll do is we'll run a lotto for everyone else who has participated, sometimes based on like what their final scores were. We'll get a bunch of lotto balls, and so everybody has a chance to win the $10 lotto prize. We also do bounties on our show. Bounties are a little bit different. They're generally somewhat difficult accomplishments. And if you can prove that you did it, we usually send you, $10, $20, $15, depending on what we're doing. We'll send you eShop cash for there as well. We've had some Switch Sports bounties. The Informant did one of them. He did the soccer one, I believe. Yeah.
16.
We still have a very difficult bowling one, and the only one who's gotten close so far is Jesse's son. And that one's still standing. But we've had bounties for stacking M&Ms, all sorts of things. So you send us photo proof, and we'll send you cash pretty quickly. So yeah, we love doing that. That's kind of the fun of our show. It's not kid friendly. It's less kid friendly when Drew's around. Grandma Drew went to bed, had his boiled milk, and is sleeping right now, but he'll hear this later. It's fine. But yeah. But yeah, if you want to find us, we podcast, we don't stream. So primarily, if you want to find us, just search Dads After Dark Show on any of your podcasting apps. Happy to have you listen. We're on Twitter and TikTok, and Dads After Dark. And then I do 30-second reviews on YouTube. That's youtube.com/Dads After Dark Show. That's something I do when I have time. I love doing the 30-second reviews because it's not a lot of editing time. And I also feel like the reviews don't give away a lot of information. I usually cover maybe the first hour of the game at most. Try to go through things really quickly. You won't get a ton of detail, which is probably good if you're interested in the game. So you'll get a good idea if you like the game or not based on that. And like I said, my last one was on the Card Shark demo. I like doing the demos. They're fun because they're not very long and I can get them out pretty quickly.
Can I be honest? Can I tell you something? A little bit of a
anytime, Marty.
A fanboy a little bit. Your 30-second reviews are my favorite game reviews on the internet. I'm serious.
That's awesome.
I think they're hilarious. I think you do an excellent job with them, and like they just get better and better. So
I'm gonna
definitely go check them out.
I'll do a 30-second review of Mega Man 2 and really crush it just to test how much you truly like my reviews.
I will give you a thumbs down. I will.
But it's still counted.
There's nothing there that you can crush. I'm sorry.
No, I wouldn't. I love Mega Man 2.
Thank you.
The last thing I will say, it's too bad Drew wasn't here, but we do want to start to give a heads up. The Mario Strikers Battle League, and we haven't really talked about that trailer, but that trailer was hot. Mario Strikers Battle League looks so good. It is coming out June 10th, so we have about a month, and we are going to be doing a club. If you look at the detail, if you haven't seen that trailer, go to the Nintendo of America Twitter. You'll find it. And you can sign up for clubs. Clubs are going to be maxed out at 20 people. And so we're going to form a club in our Discord. We'll have to come up with some clever name or something down the road. We're looking for 20 people. We're trying to figure out how to handle it in case we get more than 20 people. We are asking that, join the club if you're going to be active. If you feel like you're going to drop off after a few days, hey, we'll play online, but you don't want to kind of get involved. If we end up with more than 20 people, we'll probably prioritize, monthly mayhem players or whatever, but I don't think we're going to hit 20. We also can do 2 clubs if we're going to have more than 20. So I think Drew described it as sort of like a European soccer league where you could get relegated out of the club. I don't know if we can do that, but it would be pretty funny. But that's going to be a whole lot of fun. And with those clubs, you join the club and then you can go online and you can play with other club members against other teams. You're playing, it's always co-op. Or you can just play solo and you can help out the club just by playing a bunch of solo games at 1 a.m, maybe. It's just going to be a lot of fun. That game looks deep and interesting. I love the way you can kick your own team members forward to give them space, which is hilarious. Tons of costuming, and you can increase your strength or your speed or whatever with various outfits. This game just looks great. I mean, I love Mario Strikers. I always have, and this one just looks like it's going to be great. And it looks like it runs at like a nice smooth frame rate, 60 frames a second, from what I can tell. So nice. I can't wait. So yeah, there we have a channel. What is the name of that channel? Where is our Mario Strikers channel? I know
should be under Let's Play.
Under Let's Play. For some reason, I'm not seeing it.
Or is it under Leagues? Because maybe it's a league.
Oh, maybe. Yeah.
No, I'm not seeing it anywhere, actually. We don't have it yet, I don't think.
Where did it go? I swore we had it. Where did it go? All right, we'll find it. But like, yeah. But yeah, we'll be that'll start getting active pretty soon. So
yeah,
I can't wait for that one. So yep, that's what I got.
It's really sad that Roy Koopa is not going to be in the new in the Mario Strikers, so that he could be the obvious Roy Kent chant replacement. Roy Koopa, he's
he
here.
Would be a
he's
very
there.
After Dark character.
There. It would be fantastic. Tim, why don't you tell us what's going on our family of podcasts?
Sure. So basically, as John mentioned, Dad's After Dark show recently dropped episode 99. So you guys are coming up on episode 100, which is
that's right.
Awesome.
Catching up to All In.
Yes, you are. So you guys talked about where's the rest of Switch Sports, which we kind of touched on a little bit today. because you guys said it seems like Switch Sports isn't finished. What would you do if you could try any game for 2 hours for free? Was a question you guys talked about, and a review of Disco Elysium, which I heard a little bit of too when I was listening. So
Fun game.
yes. And then our other shows, Game Pass News, they dropped episode 52 called Cheese, Butts, and Apple Pie.
It's always food with those guys.
Yes. And by the way, they dropped new logos and new characters and everything for their season 2 show. So Game Pass News 2.0 update they talked about. Who's the Embracer Group they talked about. Halo Infinite MP tries to save itself. Halo the series boosts Paramount Plus. All those topics and more, as well as what they talk about Game Pass wise. I believe, what did I see on Twitter? From Jules. Jules was asking about something in regards to for Switch side, a site that helps kind of, do what I guess the Wii U shop used to do, but basically kind of outlines all these 20 games a week. Somebody do a site where it will kind of review all of these games. Everybody was coming at him with like, how would you do that? But I was like, well, you need a Game Pass type show where they go through all the Game Pass games, or they go through the list of games and they talk about the highlights of those Game Pass games. So that's what those guys do in Game Pass News. They talk about games that are coming out on Game Pass and kind of talk about the things that stick out to them that maybe you should take your time and try.
Yeah, last episode, Nick talked about how Xbox better not delay Starfield. Awkward.
That didn't age well. So
Yeah.
and then last but not least, we have Retro Logic, which they have several podcasts of their own going on over there. One of them being their own Retro Logic episode 79, where they talked about the NES. They also dropped episode 5 of On Topic, where John hosts with a show talking about specific games. And this past episode 5, they had Seth Sturgill, speaking of All In podcast, and Shannon Eno. So they all were on there talking about the latest game. I think it was Donkey Kong of some sort, but I didn't catch exactly what they were talking about. And they also have Retro Groove, which is another show they have where they talk about music. Not just about video game music, but they do touch on video game music, but music in general.
I thought you said Retro Grew for a minute. And I was like, man, that's like a Despicable Me podcast.
Yes, Retro Grew. So, but that's
where we talk about the girls.
That's our family.
That's a really
podcast.
terrible impression. Yeah. Before I just kill this and plunge it completely into the ground, let's head over and answer some questions from our community. I love, John, that you've asked a question and you're going to be on the show. But all these questions this week come from our Discord. John asked us, have you ever played or reviewed a game and completely lied about liking it? Tim?
I've come close, but I've spun it to, I try to spin it. So let's say that. I don't necessarily lie that I like it. I will spin it to the effect of, well, I guess this game is not for me, but it might be for you. So check it out.
I love that. That is a Tim phrase. I've heard that before. Yeah. I think for me, like I really tried to think back at the games that I've done. And I've tried to be pretty open about them. And one of the ones that I can remember of was there was a game that came out. I want to say it was in 2021, and it was a food truck game that was just awful. It was really bad. And what I will try to do in those situations is I will try to say something along the lines of, we thank the developer for sending us a code over. If you like this type of game, it might be for you, but here are some issues that I had with it.
Yes.
I feel like it's kind of our duty, since people do listen and want to hear our takes on things, to be open and honest about it.
Yes.
We're not paid by Nintendo, and we're not going to be, so I'm not going to blow smoke up their butt to they do send us some codes and things, which we're grateful for. But I think you can go back and look over the last couple episodes. My problems with Nintendo Switch Sports are very out in the open.
Yeah.
And I'm very clear about which games are not for me. And so if I say I like something, that is not hey, they bought us this game, so you need definitely to play it. John, what about you guys over on your show? Are you ever do you feel like the pressure to like everything, or?
I will never pull a punch on a game, and it gets me in trouble, right? I had somebody on Twitter yesterday say, "Why are you so negative?" And I'm just like, I'm just being honest, Did
you respond with, "Why does your game suck so much?"
No, it was some guy. I was complaining to IGN about them showing that weird stairwell footage and how great games are going to be because we have a stairwell. It's like, this isn't a game. It's a stairwell. Let's settle down.
Yeah.
There was one game I reviewed for you guys where I was doing like a first look, and I really had to, because every game has a fan, right? And it's difficult sometimes. I've played games where I don't like, and I try not to be like, this game is bad, this game sucks. It's like, this game is just not working for what I'm looking. Triangle Strategy was a game that I really was excited for, and it was just really hard to stick with until the end. But there was a game called Vigil the Longest Night, which I think was like a Metroidvania style game, and I was doing a first look for it. And everything about this game was so confusing, and it culminated in, I got to the first boss, and this boss was unbelievably hard. And I could not believe that the first boss of this game, which you get to you can get within a minute if you just knew where you were going, had to be so hard. Like, you couldn't just give me like an easier boss to get my feet wet, learn the mechanics, that sort of thing. And I don't think I ever beat the boss. I just was like, well, that's the end of the first look, like on the fourth or fifth try of beating this thing. It was just like, and you try to like say, like, like you said, Marty, just like, this is what it was. If you like this sort of thing, you're going to like this game. But I mean, I turned that game off and I never opened it again. It was like, and Metroidvanias, there's so many really good Metroidvanias. Yeah. So if you get a bad one, you're like, don't waste your time. There's so many great Metroidvanias.
I think the video will, especially if you're doing a video or even a stream, will tell a lot. Like I said, I'll say, right now it's not clicking with me, or it's just not my thing, and I'm just not getting it right now. Maybe I'll come back to it, but that's why I always say maybe it's something I'm not doing right or whatever. But it's exactly in the video. People are watching me attempting to play this game for the first time. And, I'm probably lower on the spectrum as far as the gamer abilities go. So if I can't get it, maybe you can because you're a better gamer. But,
right.
So, yeah.
Yeah. One of my favorite first looks was one you did, Tim. You were doing, you weren't doing just one game. It was like a bunch of games from this particular developer that had given away a bunch of free games.
Yeah.
And the thing about it was there was no way that you could do that. I don't know what we'd call it. You were just doing a Let's Play. You couldn't do that Let's Play without giving away when you were tired of a game. So you would be like playing a game and you'd be like, all right, let's go to the next one here. Because you could tell like you would hit your limit with it. It's like, all right.
It's like,
I was like, yeah, Tim didn't like that.
Yeah, that's why it's free. Yeah. That's funny because I didn't think anybody watched that one because I did it once and I was like, because I was thinking I was going to get through all of them, and it was like, no, there's no way I'm going to get through all of them. So
you stuck with it. There was one I can't remember, but you stuck with that one way longer than I was. Just like I was yelling at my screen, Tim, move on! Like this is horrible.
Yeah,
but you kept with it.
It was probably that creepy looking one. It was just like it was intriguing to me. Like
oh yeah, there was one that was like a creepy game.
Yeah, it was like,
from that.
It was like just a train wreck, and I couldn't take my eyes off of it. So it was like I kept going with it.
So in other words, to kind of sum this question up, I think we would like to say that we try our best to shoot straight with you about what we like and don't like, and that's the beauty of doing a podcast as a group of dads and fans is we're not really beholden to anybody. I would be careful where you take your reviews from Like I might not take the bet. Like don't take your authoritative review from the Nintendo Power podcast.
Right.
All right. Listen to quote unquote mom and pop podcasts and get your reviews from there. Even your big website podcasts can be a little slanted and biased, I think, as well. And I'm not throwing them under the bus at all when I say that. I just want you to know that's kind of, we don't have to. I mean, we could get Mario Strikers and it could be total dog crap, and we would tell you.
We're not a big
we don't expect it to be.
We're not a big publisher trying to make sure we can get the next, interview.
No, this is a conversation with friends.
Yes,
that's what it is.
And we've learned that if Marty says if this is a game that interests you, that's code for I hated it.
Yeah, if this is one that you like, enjoy the dumpster fire.
If you want to play a dumpster fire, there you go.
Here's a comment, John, from Solo Something. This was wrapped up in Drew's question earlier.
Oh, I read.
He
that.
just want. Oh, you read that one? Okay. Well, thanks for doing the bounty board. Our last
Solo
question.
Something is one of the PlayStation dads, by the way.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Max Power, our last question of the night. He asked us this: what's a game you love from a genre that you normally don't? For me, it would be Splatoon. I normally don't like shooting games or online competitive games, but I've put close to 100 hours into each of the Splatoons. John, we'll start with you. What's a game from a genre or a game you love from a genre you don't normally like?
I'll stare at my amiibos for idea, but Splatoon, Splatoon's a great example. Yeah. Cause I don't play shooters, especially first person shooters, I can't stand the perspective. It's not like a gun thing or anything. And Splatoon, I love. In fact, I'm going to start getting back into Splatoon this week. I've decided I'm going to do a whole bunch of salmon run. So,
just to warming up for 3.
Yeah, I guess I want to get more into like those sort of ongoing games. I'm getting a little tired of some.
I love Salmon Run.
So good.
I wish I'd put more time into it.
Yeah,
I'm glad it's coming back.
Never too late. I know. I'm ready to do it. I guess one game that would be a good example for me would be Shovel Knight Pocket Dungeon.
That's a good one.
Yacht Club never misses. We won't talk about Showdown, but Yacht Club never misses. And I mean, I'll play a good puzzle game, but I generally won't play a puzzle game for very long. I'll like enjoy it. I have a bunch of them on Switch, and it's like I'll play for like a half hour, and then I never really get back to it because they're usually not deep or anything. Shovel Knight Pocket Dungeon just hooked me because it had story to it. It had just so many unlockable things, unlockable characters, unlockable outfits, unlockable warps, just everything. I mean, every piece of this game just oozed beautiful graphics and things to find. And then just beating the game was really, really hard, doing like the full beat where you have to get all the key pieces and everything. And then you can do it with all the characters, and the characters all had different like aspects of themselves. Like any game that has multiple characters. Okay, you beat the game with, I beat the game with Mole Knight. It's like, now try to beat it with Shovel Knight. Try to beat it with Aerial Knight. Like all those guys. So I really enjoyed that, and I think I played it for like 20 hours or something. I never play a puzzle game that long. And I'll be getting back to it as soon as they put out new content. I think they have a few content dumps, and it was a little sad that Yacht Club was actually talking about the game sales for it, and it really hasn't sold well, which is kind of a crime. It's so good, but they're still putting out like 3 content dumps for it. So I'll be going back all 3 times. So I think that's a good example for me, and Splatoon.
Awesome. Tim, what about you?
I have a hard time trying to figure out something more recent, but the first one that popped to mind for me is I don't normally play JRPG type games or big RPG games like your Final Fantasies and stuff, but Chrono Trigger is one that I played through and had a great time with, and I can't think of another one similar where I've been able to go back to playing something along those same lines. So I think I am looking forward to Live Alive, and that's my goal right now, to get Breath of the Wild done before that comes out in July. because I want to play Live Alive because of, its influences for Chrono Trigger and all that kind of stuff, and plus the 2D, HD, whatever. But those type of games I don't usually play because of how long they are, and Chrono Trigger was one that I played through, so that and is on my all-time list somewhere on there. So that's probably the one I can think of, but I can't think of anything more recent though. Maybe Breath of the Wild being more recently because of how big that game is. But it's not necessarily JRPG, but it's an RPG, action RPG, and it's a long game.
5 years long. It's huge.
It's a huge game.
It's gonna be six years long.
6 years.
I had to think about. There's two games that I thought of when I read this question. The first one is an older game. One of them is kind of an older game, but it's not as old. All right. So I don't, in any shape, form, or fashion, like horror games. They freak me out, and I already have enough stress and anxiety in my life. I don't need something adding to that. But weirdly, I loved Eternal Darkness, Sanity's Requiem on the GameCube.
Oh, okay.
I thought it was just a fantastic game. I love the various things that they programmed into it to make you think that like your system was messed up or that your game had reset or where like it was just like it drew you in, and I really wish that they would make another one of those. I think it would do so well. The other one is I love the concept of Picross games, but I hate playing them because I'm not good at it. Like I don't like there's some math and other things that are involved and I just don't get. But 3D Picross or Picross 3D 1 and 2 on the 3DS are magic. They are so good. And I guess it's something about being in that 3D space and being able to rotate it around and it works so well. And I love, but it's like, it makes you feel like a sculptor, like you're busting those, 3D shapes out of those blocks. And I'll go back to it every now and then and just lose like a couple of weeks playing it. Like I'll pick up and play, 3 or 4 puzzles a night. It's so good. But yeah, those are my two.
Nice.
And you can still find at least Picross 1 and 2. Picross 1 is in physical, but 2 was digital only. So you have a limited time if you want that one on 3DS.
Nice.
One last question. This one's actually from our Discord as well. I didn't see that you picked it up. Brolin asks us, hey, Flynn Hook is on sale today. Should I pick it up? $7.49 on digital eShop. John, you've already had some thoughts about this. You talked about it in the Discord. What did you think?
I enjoyed it when I first played it. It was the first roguelike I actually beat because I've always been terrible at roguelikes. I think I had played a few by then. It was really good. It's one of those games. It's good. I really can't say anything bad about it. There's been a lot of other roguelike indie games that have come out that I like better. One of the neat things about it is you unlock stuff and you sort of get an amount of side stuff you can do. So like you can unlock a bunch of things, but you have to choose from a certain amount of like power-ups for the level you're going to go into. So it's kind of fun to go through and figure out like, okay, what's my strategy for this one? But it's really good. It's really well done. And I enjoyed it. I liked it a lot.
Yeah. This one gave me a very Mega Man-ish vibe, simply because of like being able to actually, and I love the fact that in this one, yes, it's roguelike, but it's more roguelite in that you can make progression through it. So you can beat levels and not have to go back to them, and just being able to find different items and things and kind of co-op them and use their powers. And I love the actual hook mechanism. So it's kind of like Bionic Commando meets Mega Man as a roguelike. So yeah, I think for that price, definitely, unless you're just on a really strict budget. But he also asked about Dead Cells. Dead Cells is just in a level of its own. It's a masterpiece. There's a ton of content there, but I will say Flint Hook's difficulty is probably a less steeper curve than Dead Cells.
Yeah, Dead Cells is a game where you can get pretty far in, die, then you'll have to start from the beginning. And depending on how you did, you might not be so motivated to go through it all again. There's just a whole bunch of areas you'll have to get through before you get to the final boss, where, like you said, Flint Hook, I mean, I died tons of times, but it's very much roguelite. And once you get past where you're trying to get past, you never have to do that again. So I think Flint Hook's a little easier. Dead Cells, the only time I ever beat that game is when I had certain power-ups in my run. And I knew when I got those power-ups, and it's so long ago, I can't remember. I was like, oh, I have a chance. But
good, probably when you had those, yeah.
Yeah. You're constantly finding, ways to power up your health and your strength and stuff as you go through, which makes that game so addictive. And all the additional they keep putting out DLC.
It's like it's forever.
And I loved that game, but it's like I can't get back into it. It's like I played it too long ago, and I really wish. Drew says this all the time. If they put out a Dead Cells 2, he'd buy it. It's almost scary. If I booted up that game, I would have a beat of that game, and then I'd have about 5 DLCs that I'd have to get through. And I remember the first DLC, I was so excited. I downloaded the DLC and I played it, and I did not know how to access the DLC. They literally didn't tell you. I had to Google to see, how do I find this content? You have to go to this room, and you have to go to this door, and you got to knock on it, and then you got to go over here. And it's like, that's weird. Just show it. Why? I don't know. So that's why I don't want to play the other DLCs. It's like, what mystery do I have to do to actually find that DLC?
Yeah.
But it really is so good. And I was so addicted to when you buy the items, they put them in those jars that are above your head in the place where you start. And man, all you want to do is fill all those jars.
Yeah.
That's all you want to do.
Yeah. Or
really
just,
good.
Actually beat the game. I've never been able to do it. Kudos to you if you were able to, and anyone else out there listening. Well, guys, kudos to us. That's episode 375 of Nintendo Dads. We want to thank you for hanging with us. We especially want to thank John and Drew from Dads After Dark for being with us. You guys you are welcome here anytime.
Oh, we'll be here next week then.
Okay.
All right.
Come on. I mean, it's totally fine. Totally fine. You guys be sure to go and check them out. Follow them on the socials. Go download their podcast. But remember, there's a little disclaimer there. Not a kid-friendly podcast. So moms, dads, it's for you, not for them.
Yeah.
And that's okay. As we close out the show, we want to say a huge thanks to our Patreon producers, Dave Ernsberger, Antonio Contronio, Solo Something, Alexander Ocampo, and RJ Kern. Thank you guys for backing us at the producer level. And we want to say also a huge thanks to each and every one of you who follows us and supports us over at patreon.com/Nintendo Dads. Head over there and join up today. Also, thanks to our almost 6,200 subscribers on YouTube and 1,300 followers on Twitch, 34 of which get access to our Discord as well, because you throw us a Twitch Prime subscription every month as well. Remember, if you have Amazon Prime and you're not subscribed to someone on Twitch with your Twitch Prime, we would love to have that as well. You can head over to manscaped.com and goodr.com and get 20% off your order and free shipping with the code NINDADS. That's NINDADS. So go over there and pick you up some creams and lotions, and your glasses, blue blocker glasses, gaming glasses, sunnies for being out, and lots more. Head over to nintendodads.org/merch. Guess what? We've got brand new merch in the store. nintendodads.org/merch. You can go and check out what we have, including Nintendo Dads mushroom logo sheets designed directly by Tim Office. He was bedridden this past week. You can also check out our latest videos, tweets, podcast episodes, links for all of our social media, our Patreon page, and more over at nintendodads.org. Email us at nintendodads@gmail.com or call in and leave a voicemail, 929-25-NDADS. That's 929-256-3237. I want to say a big thanks to OC Remix for the music used throughout the show. And remember, wherever you listen to us, wherever you download us, your podcast app of choice, be sure to go in and leave a 5-star review and some written words. It helps people find the show, and it helps push us up the rankings. And hey, that's a good thing, right? Thanks for checking us out for episode 375. For Drew, for John, for Tim, for missing Jesse and Justin, this is Marty signing off. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
Good night, Dad.
Thank you for listening to Nintendo Dads.